Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode number 384. Getting old, getting up there. My name is Colin Moriarty. We're joined. Why was I so disappointed when I said, I was like, my name's Colin Moriarty?
Yeah, fuck me.
Fuck me. I'm joined as always by my son, Chris Reagan. Chris, good to see you, my friend. Yeah. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. I think I might have like a tinge of... My assumption is that I might have a little bit of laryngitis or something, or I might be in the beginning of it, because like I have this like weird... There's like a strain on my voice. It's like a vague pain in the back of my throat, but I'm not sick. And I haven't.
You sound a little congested.
I don't feel congested at all. I don't know.
Right, Dustin?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sounds a little off.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do sound a little off. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've had it for like a good, like since last week on this day. Maybe later on in that day, later on in the day that we last recorded Sacred Symbols, I was starting to feel this way. But I'm not sick. I don't have like strep throat or the flu or a cold or nothing. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I'm going to wait it out. You know? Oh, yeah.
By the way, my like my usual, like when I'm listening and absorbing my that cracked. People go back and hear that cracked like I had like who was it? Peter Brady, I think, was the one that the famous Brady Bunch.
Yeah. These are more timely references.
Well, so you were saying, does it hurt to talk? Like, are you okay to do the show?
No, yeah, I'm fine to talk. It's just like my voice is probably going to crack a couple times.
Oh, okay. Well, mine already has.
Maybe I'll whistle by accident.
Oh,
it's one of these. I don't know. I've never had laryngitis though in my life, so like I don't know what that feels like or like what to expect out of that. I know people who have lost their voices, and I'm always like confused by that because me and my friends have spent a lot of time just howling and screaming and laughing, and I've been to concerts, I've never lost my voice, so I just don't understand how that happens to people.
Skill issue.
Right. Skill issue.
Yeah, I've never had I don't think I've ever had any sort of that sickness either. I was thinking recently, I don't think I've ever had chicken pox. So like if someone wanted to kill me, they can kill me like someone in a siege in like 1600, they would just launch bodies over the wall and get people. You could just leave some sort of chicken pox blanket.
Yeah,
on my porch.
Chicken pox blanket. I did have chicken pox. Like I think it probably in second grade or first grade or something like that. I have a scar on my forehead from it because I scratched one off by accident. In the morning, and it was like not very pleasant.
All right. Well, it's good to be here with you today, and I'm glad that you're hanging in there.
Yeah.
The hat behind you is distracting and reminding me of a better day.
The
spinny top hat, whatever
propeller hat. Yeah,
propeller. There we go.
I have so many hats, and I realize like I don't have anywhere. Like I don't have a hat rack because it's not the 50s. So like I don't know where to. I have just hats like hanging off of chairs and
yeah, me too.
It's one's hanging off my TV, one's hanging off a doorknob. There's no designated place for them. And I feel weird getting like a bunch of hooks to put on like my wall or something where it's like, oh, I'll have like a place to put my hats. And I'm just like, maybe that's too much. I don't know.
Remember when you guys wouldn't have done it. Because you weren't really into sports and whatnot, but there was a time where it was really cool, probably 20, 25 years ago, to like a Yankee hat, for instance, and it would be really bent in the front, know, like almost into a U. And I was thinking recently that I had from that store Lids when I was a kid, I had like a special thing they sold that you would put your hat into it and it would hold it and it would make that little duckbill thing. And then it would start to fray in the front. And that was always cool and that was fun. Yeah. But I don't see anyone like that anymore. So I don't think it's cool or fun anymore for anyone.
Yeah. A lot of the hats now are flat brim.
Oh yeah. See, like I could never imagine me trying to get away with wearing a flat brim hat.
No, I would not.
It would be preposterous.
Yeah.
Preposterous. It couldn't be done. Well, it's good to be here with you today.
Yeah.
Dustin Furman, executive producer. Good to be with you wearing your main level game shirt, a little piece of Butler, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Just like you are. How are you today?
A little piece. I am very good. Couple life updates for everybody. First of all, I was telling Chris before the show, I got a Baja Blast cream pie from Taco Bell this morning.
From the Grouch.
From the Grouch. A cream pie from the Grouch, dude. I mean, it looks like it certainly looks like it. Did you see the picture, Colin, in the Discord?
No, let me look.
Look in the staff chat under sacred symbols.
I see it.
What do you think of that?
So this is from Taco Bell?
From Taco Bell. And it's flavored like Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
It looks like the consistency is going to be fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be good. They did Baja Blast Gelato, I think last year.
Oh, so you're saving this for later.
Well, I'm going to try it tonight. Okay. I needed to get a glimpse at it before, I had to open it up and see it.
Gotcha.
So there's that.
Okay.
And the other thing, I want to get there's going to be some allegations coming at me pretty soon because I bought tickets. I bought tickets to go to the Persona live concert.
Oh, where in Pittsburgh?
It's in Los Angeles.
Oh, jeez. So you're going with your boyfriend?
There it is. I foresaw the allegations. Here they are. I've always said that if they ever did a Persona concert in the US, I would go. It doesn't matter where. I'm going. And lo and behold, it happened. It's sold out like instantly, but I got the tickets. So, and yeah, Brad and I are going.
Your man must have been so happy when you told him you got the tickets.
I got his tickets for Persona. I think I know Brad likes Persona. He doesn't like it as much as me. So
you're just like bringing him.
He's
classic girlfriend situation, but that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta. That's all. So when is it?
It is in January. It's on a Saturday. They just added another day. Okay, so it's on January 24th.
Wow, pretty soon, okay. And they just sold tickets to it.
They just sold tickets.
Wow,
they sold out like immediately. So they just added another concert the day before. They're doing one on Friday now, and it's at the Dolby Theater, which I think is like where they do the Oscars.
Yeah, it is. I did a show. I did a Let's Play live with Rooster Teeth there. It was very incredibly surreal.
Yeah. So maybe we'll, Chris, maybe we can hit you up. Maybe we can grab food or something. Yeah. It's going to be a quick trip. I really don't want to be there a long time, So I'll be there. I'll probably go out Friday and come back. We'll see. It would be nice to come back Monday. But we got the stream. We can figure something out. We'll figure it out. I haven't even thought about travel yet, but I'm excited to go to the concert.
Yeah, that sounds cool. The Dolby Theater is really nice. That's a really nice.
It's venue. In Hollywood, right?
I can't remember.
That's where I think I saw it. It said it's in Hollywood.
The last time I went to the Dolby Theater, I had no concept of where I was going or where anything was.
I didn't live in LA when I even did that show, but yeah.
Yeah, it's on Hollywood Boulevard. I think.
Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, cool.
Hollywood's a weird place, dude.
Yeah, I almost lived in West Hollywood.
Isn't that where the gays live?
Yeah. I mean, that's where you kind of want to be. I mean, I learned that in San Francisco too. Like one of the nicest parts of San Francisco is the Castro, and that's the gayest place on planet Earth.
The gays are peaceful.
They're peaceful, clean, orderly,
right?
Well dressed.
Yeah,
like that. I mean, complete. Like there is no coincidence that the Castro is like one of the nicer parts of San Francisco. And when I lived with the gay guys, when I moved to San Francisco in their house, like it was like the cleanest, most immaculate. You weren't even allowed to use the dishwasher. Like there was a dishwasher, but you weren't allowed to use it because there was no dishes left. Like you had to wash the dish immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of situation. So the gays taught me a lot. They taught me a lot about life, about myself, and I'm not saying from a sexual point of view. Some of them definitely wanted to fuck me. There's no doubt about that. But
it's a compliment.
It definitely is. That was that was exactly what I was going to say. Is the other part of it is like that. It's way more complimentary.
To be desired by both men and women.
Right.
Sure. But other thing. Oh, okay. New angle. It's more like my old angle. Did you notice, Colin?
Oh, that like the camera angle is I mean, I kind of already forgotten that you had a new camera. So.
Slightly. Well, same camera, just different.
Yeah.
It's got, so my notes are here. So maybe, the audience that was getting sexually aroused.
Yeah.
I'm still when I'm looking at Colin and Chris, I'm looking I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it's too much.
I'm saying the royal you, all you out there. So I don't know. Get the lotion out if you need to, I guess. We just said how it feels good to be desired by both men and women. So this can be part of it.
Yeah, of course. Of course, it feels good.
The speed at which this episode is falling apart is
yeah, well, that's how it goes.
Well, welcome to Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. It's good to be here with you guys today for episode 384. We go live each and every week. You can get us 3 days early and ad-free over on Patreon. Patreon.com/laststandmedia for early ad-free access, the ability to submit your inquiries to the show on the threads in the news feed each week, Discord access. So many people on the Discord. Too many, maybe, in some way. RSS access, Spotify access, so much more. Sacred Symbols Plus is a major perk over on Patreon when you support us. That's our weekly supplement to this show. We dive deep into games and conduct interviews and do all sorts of other things. So we just recorded with Jason Polanski from Atari and Gene. We did the Ghost of Yote review discussion and spoiler cast. It's about 2.5 hours long. Please look forward to it. It'll go live the day after this goes live. So if you're hearing this on free feeds, it is already available for you on Patreon if you want to hear more about Ghost of Yote. I recently had Ohio Democratic Senate candidate Chris Volpe on the show to talk about the intersection of games in Washington, D.C. and why no one seems to understand video games in the government. And that was really interesting. Had our friend Reese Elliott from Alinea Analytics on recently to talk about games data, always fun. Did a really great episode with Cog, all about his trip to Japan and how life-changing that was for him. And it's not my favorite part of the conversation for sure, but one of the best parts of the talk is learning that Cog actually went to Japan once before to play Ninja Gaiden, but what was there for like a day. And then like, you know, or like 2 days and then just left. And I'm like, you flew all the way to Japan to play Ninja Gaiden. Like, I used to get invited, and I kind of regret it these days, but when I was in media, I got invited to Japan, and I'm not even kidding, 50 times and said no. Like, I only went twice. Like, you want to, every year, Bandai Namco would be like, you want to come to the Tales Festival? Or Sony would be like, you want to go to Japan Studio to play this? I'm like, I don't want to fly over to Japan. Thanks, though. Only for TGS. I don't regret that so much because I went to Japan twice, but the things I regret are saying no to random other things. I think I could have gone to Egypt. I could have gone to France a bunch of times to go to like Quantic Dream and Ubisoft, like Assassin's Creed stuff would be in Canada or in France, Italy for sure. And the ones I always think about are the Scandinavian countries. Could have gone to Sweden for EA to play, what the fuck was that game? Syndicate. Because it was made by Starbreeze.
And
then I was invited to Housemarque, which is in Finland. And I just was always like, no, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
I was just like, I don't want to do that. Because it's not like you're flying first class or business. Like, they're going to be like, oh, you're going to be in like the middle seat in the back of the plane. But if you want to come to Stockholm, you're more than welcome. I'd be like, no, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, I've skipped out on entire trips because I couldn't find a seat, like a window seat. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to go.
Dude, I said this to Shuhei himself. It's like, because they fly like first, like you get the pod kind of thing. Like you're on your own when they're flying, you know, like when the executives are flying, which is the way it should be because they need to be well taken care of. This is important business. If I flew like that all the time, I would go anywhere. If I knew that that's what was waiting for me was exactly what I'm doing now, which is sitting in a chair or laying in bed.
Right.
And like just comfortably watching TV or something. And then I wake up and I'm like in Japan or something. That's different. But riding in that coach with the plebs? I don't think so. No.
It's not even a good coach seat. You know?
It's so funny. If someone offered me, they're like, your work is taken care of. You can get on the worst seat on a flight to Tokyo and you'll be there for a week and you have to pay for it still, but it'll be much cheaper. I would do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the opposite boat. I'm ready to pay.
You should just move there. You know you want to.
I would my dream scenario is that I could go and like live there for like a month or two at a time.
Yeah, sure.
I don't want to, permanently settle down there, but I would love to be able to experience living there.
There's nothing stopping you from really doing that. It'll probably be fairly affordable to do. You can get like a long-term Airbnb. The currency's in the toilet.
Yeah.
So now's the time to do it. Go ahead.
In theory, because when I thought about it at one point, which I wasn't seriously considering, but just like playing the mental game of it, I was thinking about recording Sacred at 1 p.m. Eastern, but I'm sure you guys would not care if we recorded at a different time.
Yeah. Well, I would prefer to record earlier, but yeah, 1 p.m. would be in like the middle of the night, I think.
Yeah, it'd have to be nocturnal in Japan.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And we will come to it. Put a pin in that because we're going to come to it.
Okay.
I feel it.
That'd be great. You're more optimistic than me about it.
But I need you to, when you do it, you have to renounce your American citizenship.
Can you be a citizen of nowhere?
You can be stateless, I think, but I don't know how that would work for you.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
All right. What else? Oh, Sacred streaming every Monday at 1 p.m. We streamed Elden Ring, which was fun. And that VOD, all the VODs are on Patreon for our patrons, where you can watch live for free. And of course, Lockmore mixes them down. Now, we do Friday streams sometimes. We're going to do a Friday stream for Elden Ring. That will be available for everyone, even in VOD. It's the adventures of Colin Montgomery. What a hideous creature he is.
I tuned in when you were creating him, and I pulled in right where you were getting to the nose.
Yeah.
And you were flattening his face out, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, I have his lip like curling. Like, doesn't he have he has like an underbite, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. From what I remember, he was like, he just looked, well, he looked horrendous.
Yeah, it was a hideous.
That's the fun of the character. I do like the character creator in those games. Like, it reminds you of old, it reminds you of like Saints Row, where you can just make like a complete travesty of a person.
I'm looking at the video of the VOD now. Someone, Wings of Justice 8682 said on there, Elden Ring is baby's first RPG. You guys are so fucking annoying.
That's crazy. Also,
come on, man.
The FromSoft glazers and the FromSoft haters. They're both very, very annoying.
Unite. Then I made him into a samurai, so he doesn't even you don't even see his face, unfortunately.
Yeah, you don't normally see your face in general in those games. It's really just for the satisfaction of you knowing what's underneath all of it.
It's so fucked up. I'm looking at it now. It's like, what did I do? What did we do? Yeah, his upper lip is like extending. Oh, he almost has like a small beak.
Right.
He's bird-like. He's a hideous creature. I can't wait to see. So we're gonna stream that. We got to get a thumbnail with him on it.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm planning on, because I'm gonna make that tonight so we can schedule it for tomorrow. And now, do I try to put do I put half your face and half Colin Montgomery's face? I'm always trying to push the limits of how fucked up a thumbnail could be.
Yeah.
And Sacred Streaming is the perfect place to do that. So look forward to it.
Well, they will. Everyone will indeed look forward to it. And so I have met. Oh yeah. So I can delete this because we didn't end up doing Mega Man. We did Symphony of the Night recently. That was fun. Monday, which is the day that this goes live for everyone. That is the 10th, November 10th. Lily Mo, the dev that I co-own, the small indie dev that I co-own, we will be revealing our next game. And we'll be doing it on stream at 1 p.m. So we'll have a trailer, we'll play the game for you and show it to you fairly extensively, and have more discussion about it. I'm really excited about what people think of this game. Something very different for us. Something we haven't done yet. So please stand by for that. Let's see, merch. LastStandMedia.store. Get your t-shirts, your sweatshirts, your hats, etc. Copies of Habroxia, if you'd like. Luke Bernhard wrote into us on Patreon and said, "Good morning from Osaka, fellow otaku. Just wanted to give a sacred shout out to Kyle from British Columbia and his girlfriend Kelly. Ran into Kyle at Coffee Swamp in Shinjuku a few days ago wearing an LSM hoodie and firmly issued him a stand down before getting some good advice about our upcoming days in Kyoto. Arigato gozaimashita, Kyle? Is that right? Gozaimashita.
Arigato gozaimasu.
It says Shita.
Oh, you're right. It does. Does that mean, because I always say arigato gozaimasu, that's like, thank you very much. But you're right. This does say something different.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend your Japanese sensibilities.
Right. I was just, I saw the beginning part and I'm like, oh, he's saying arigato gozaimasu.
Yeah, I know that. Even I know that.
Gozaimashita. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese, so
yeah, I don't know anything.
one of our listeners over in Japan
Now he doesn't speak Japanese, so okay.
They'll send me a DM as they do when we get these things wrong.
Wearing an LSM hoodie in Japan is very funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's good.
There's some context to this. I knew about this before I read it in the notes. So either Luke or Kyle, one of those two, messaged me on PlayStation Network, which, by the way,
bad place to message you.
Please do not message me on PlayStation Network. But the message that popped up on my screen was so interesting that I responded to it. So I guess I broke my own rule. Where he's like, yo, I just went to Coffee Swamp based on your recommendation, and I saw another listener there. So 2 independent listeners went to Coffee Swamp in Shinjuku from hearing about it on the show, and then saw each other in Tokyo. Insane. Small world. We were just talking about Small World on Monday on stream.
Indeed. I'm not even surprised because it happens all the time. The world is small. It's very, very interesting. I even think about when I went to Japan, people recognized me there. Like, and not Japanese people.
Yeah.
Like Western people. And I was like, really? It's so strange because there's a lot of nerds. I mean, there's a lot of nerds if you're a Westerner in Japan, there's a decent chance you're a massive nerd.
Yeah.
And so at that point, of course, maybe you would be in our sphere and recognize us or whatever. So that's kind of cool. So cool. People wearing the merch, speaking Japanese that even Dustin in his fluency doesn't understand. Let's get into some topics of discussion and stretch our legs, hear from the audience a little bit. And then we'll get into games news. We get to what we're playing. We'll wrap things up. Shane wrote in and said, hey boys, I just wanted to give a special shout out to Dustin, who I had the pleasure of running into at Cedar Point this past weekend. On the drive up, my wife and I passed the infamous deli on the Circle, and I was telling her all about its legendary place in podcast history. Fast forward a few hours, and I'm sitting down for lunch when I spot none other than Dustin himself a few tables away. Once I heard that unmistakably silky voice, I knew it had to be him. I went over to say hello, and he could not have been more kind and down to earth. The icing on the cake, he was there with the one and only Jimmy Champagne. You guys, does Brad know? You guys totally made my day. It was awesome getting to meet part of my favorite podcast crew. Hope you both had a blast the rest of the day, and thanks again for taking the time to chat. P.S. My only regret was forgetting to hit Dustin with a hearty stand down before I left. So you went to Cedar Point.
Yep.
You go there pretty often, huh? Weren't you just there?
Well, so there is a member of the audience that, if I remembered his name, I wouldn't say it just for his safety. No, but he has connections that he's able to get. He works for a related company and he's able to get passes. And he offered me, hey, if you ever want to go to Cedar Point, hit me up. This was like 2 years ago. So in September, I said, hey, if that's still on the table, that'd be great. So, because Holly and I would like to go. He's like, okay, cool. Here's 4 passes. So if you guys want to go later in the summer, you can. So we went in September, and then I had these 2 extra passes, and it was the day before they shut down for the season. Jimmy, who lives in Detroit area, it's like halfway for both of us. It's 3 hours for me and 2 hours for him to get there. So yeah, we met up at Cedar Point, rode all the rides. I rode the new ride, Siren's Curse. And we ran into Shane there. Imagine Shane's wife, her perspective. Her husband's talking about the deli,
right,
and like
Hitler's bunker.
She's probably like rolling her eyes. She's like, oh, they have a sandwich named after your nerd podcast or whatever. And then he's sitting there at lunch, and then he sees me, and she's like, it's
rough.
She probably doesn't understand. But Shane was super nice, really cool to see a listener there.
To be clear, this was at lunch somewhere else, right? In my mind's eye, I'm trying to understand, because he said he drove by the deli.
Right. This was lunch at Cedar Point.
Oh, right. That's what I assumed. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah. There's a barbecue place at Cedar Point that's actually quite good. So that's where Jimmy and I were eating. It was pretty good. So now it's closed for the season, so I won't be going back till next year.
Oh, I see. Cool. I didn't know you even hung out with Jimmy in person. Where does he live? Sorry.
He lives in Detroit.
Right. He's in Michigan. Right.
I have not seen him since his wedding.
Okay.
So it's been, over 2 years now, just over 2 years. Cause we got married
pretty soon because you had to go to those weddings like back to back, right?
Yeah. Almost back to back.
That
Yeah. They were
sucks.
like a week apart.
Sorry. You're like a football team on a road trip.
Right. Yeah. We had both of those weddings were super fun. So, but yeah, I haven't seen him for that long. So it was cool.
Cool. Very good. You're a roller coaster fiend.
Oh yeah.
A fiend for roller coasters. I was when I was younger. I loved them. It's a fun thing that you and I share, but I just haven't been into it in so many years. I'm totally disconnected on. That's why, like, when I talk to you about it, like, I have the knowledge of roller coasters literally in like 2000 or something.
Right.
Where it's like, I'm asking you like, oh, is fucking Steel Force still there or something? You know, like whatever.
Oh yeah. Millennium Force.
Millennium Force. Yeah.
You have a really decent park right near you guys too.
Great Dominion or whatever. What is it called?
Is it King's Dominion?
King's Dominion. Yeah.
Yeah. And Holly and I, when the one time Holly and I went to your place, we went to King's Dominion after. That's the park that has a ride that's so intense that it literally knocked Holly out for half the ride.
Oh, geez.
So
that's hardcore.
Intimidator 305. It's
Intimidator 305. That's an awesome name.
Intimidator 305. I think they changed the name. It might not
Almost
be called
sounds like a sex
anymore.
toy or something.
It does. It does not sound like a roller coaster at all. That sounds awesome though. I like roller coasters too. I don't know. It's hard for me to get it's like going to the gym almost for me, where it's like, I don't mind being at the gym, but like the act of going to the gym is like, it feels like a lot.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel about like amusement parks, where it's like, do I want to go, like, do I want to drive like 45 minutes to an hour to stand in line to get into this place? It's like, do I want that experience? Once I'm in, I'm having a great time. But
you're not that far from Six Flags Magic Mountain, right?
No, I like that he has just perfect GPS positioning in relation to amusement parks.
Dude.
But yes, yeah, I'm not that far from any of them, really. Like, I'm pretty I think I'm equidistant to from Six Flags as I am to Disney.
Yeah. So when we were at the park, I'm not keeping it a secret, but I went through a phase of watching like roller coaster YouTubers for a while. So I was telling Jimmy, I was like, oh yeah, they're doing 3 train ops today on Millennium Force. So the line's going to be a lot shorter because they have 1 train on the ride. They've got 1 in the main station and 1 on the exit station. And then I was like, oh man, I understand some of the lingo of parks, but yeah, Magic Mountain is iconic, and that's right near you. You could ride X2 at Magic Mountain. It's the only roller coaster like it in the United States.
Yeah.
Missing out.
I know. I don't know. I don't know a lot of people who are that into it either. And something about going to an amusement park by yourself is kind of,
yeah.
It's weirder. It's weirder in my opinion to go to an amusement park by yourself than it is to go to a movie by yourself, you know? And people feel weird about going to a movie by yourself.
I've only done that one time.
I've done it a couple times. I don't mind it at all. In fact,
I liked it.
it.
Yeah, I like it.
Because I don't know, some people talk during a movie, and then like afterwards, you feel like you have to have this. There's like this weird etiquette thing after a movie where like people, like some people talk about the movie immediately afterwards, like, and they're coming out of the theater. People are walking through, maybe they want to see it, but then you feel like condescending for even bringing up the fact that you shouldn't be doing that, or like even preemptively bringing it up, because like, who are you to assume that they're stupid enough to do that? But then they do, and then it's like, I don't want to deal with any of this. You know, I'll hang out by myself at the movie theater. I'm fine.
Chris, there's no reason for you to remember this, but there was an ArcLight cinema near my apartment in Santa Monica. It was like 2 blocks away. So there was like a 6-month period where I was like an ArcLight member, and I would just go to see random movies by myself. I was trying to like go see a movie a week. I'm like, I don't watch movies. I should watch movies. And I went and saw like a bunch of random shit for like a few months. And that was one of the early quote unquote controversies on Sacred Symbols, when I was talking about how I would go to McDonald's and just put cheeseburgers and like a thing of fries in my pocket of my Northeastern hockey jacket and then eat it in the theater.
That is great. I think I went to that theater once, because like there were days when I would go over there, and then we would be done, and I was like, it's the traffic going home is crazy, so I would just kill time in Santa Monica.
Yeah, it was a nice theater. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was nice.
But I don't remember what the fuck I saw there. It's probably not very good. Whatever I saw.
All right, where are we now? Oh yeah. Okay. Mr. Bojangles wrote in and said, "Hello, my friends. I keep hearing about how you, Colin, have YouTube Premium, and we all three of us do. And I gave it a try, and I see the light. And I finally gave it a try, and I see the light. Thanks for preaching from the rooftops of the value of this. It did have me thinking, however, that Micah said she doesn't have it. Have you looked into a Google shared family account? It allows everyone in the house to share Google services while still keeping their own unique login. She could probably get it for free since you're already paying. Keep up the great work." I know this exists, and people have written in about this in the past, but you have to understand, Micah's a little snarky. And I'll like see her watching YouTube, and I'm like, you're literally like sitting, like ads literally come up when you're watching YouTube videos, like, and she's like, I don't care. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she said she liked the ads when we were streaming the other day.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, I'm not gonna give you YouTube Premium. You like the ads. Why would I do that to you? Why would I take that away from you?
Yeah,
so at any time she could admit to me that she doesn't want to watch the ads, and she can have and I'll put her on YouTube Premium, no problem. But she has to come to me and ask. Because this charade has gone on long enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe half the things she fucking says.
That's crazy. I can't envision. I can't go back.
Oh no, never. It'll be the last thing. Like I'll my electricity will go out before I fucking don't have a YouTube Premium because I can't pay the electric bill.
Yeah.
Anytime we bring up YouTube Premium, there's always someone that's like, "Don't you guys have ad block? Don't you have ad block? Then you don't need to pay for it." It's like, no, I'm watching YouTube on my TV like a gentleman.
Yeah, it's like
every night. You know, I'm watching what's his face stealth camping in the U-Haul. Did you see that?
Steve Wallace.
Steve Wallace. He did.
I haven't watched the new. I'm like 2 or 3 behind. I fucking love him. Have you watched him for a long time?
No, but okay. I know a little bit about. I've gone to his back catalog.
He's a tragic character. Yeah. Like there's a lot of like weird, bad shit that has happened to him, and he's like the nicest person, and he just rolls with it. It's funny. Yeah, I love him. He's great. So she's got to kind of approach me and say like, listen, I don't want these ads anymore. Can you put me on the YouTube Premium? I'll be like, sure, no problem, my dear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing about
those ads aren't so fun, are they?
The thing about ad block to me is that like my computer, like my desktop or even my laptop computer, those are the places where I'm watching YouTube probably the least.
Yeah.
You know, like it's usually like it's my phone probably most. Then immediately afterwards, it's like TV, and that's like console or whatever. And then like, you know, in a distant third, I think is on my computer where I can install ad block comfortably and simply. It's usually when I'm doing something else and I'm like, all right, I'm editing or like I'm doing stuff on the computer and like, all right, I'll have YouTube on the side. But like, it's never like, so even ad block wouldn't really do much for me.
Right.
The overwhelming majority of the time that I use it. So
I only have ad blocker. I have it on my browser, like classic ad blocker or whatever. And I've said this many times in the past. It's not even because I have a problem with ads. It's that I have a problem with like what ads do to your computer. They've really toned that down a lot, which is why I used it in the beginning. It's like just the noise and like the video overlays and all of this shit. It's like, no way. I have no problem with you serving me ads. I don't. But I have a problem with you making your shit completely fucking unusable and unreadable. And that's why, because people keep, I'm telling you, someone's going to be in the comments, Chris. They're going to be like, if you use an Android phone and you use this specific fork and then you go on Brave, you can download this app that will block the ads for you. It's like, that's too broke for me. That's I can't go down that road. You know, if it's one small little thing that I can do, I'll do it. Otherwise, and again, I don't. And so it's like, I'm not trying to steal YouTube videos. I want someone to get paid for it. It's the same with Spotify. It's like, I have no problem. Like Spotify is a fucking steal. Like I still cannot believe how cheap Spotify is. It's too cheap. Comparable to like what people get paid to have their music on it. It should actually be way more expensive.
Yeah.
But and I would pay way more for it. But if you're going to, it's like, okay, $11 or $12 a month. It's like, okay. if you insist.
The thing about a lot of those things are it's like, oh yeah, you go on an Android, buy an Android phone, download Brave, use this proxy, install this app, or get this from GitHub as well. Like,
Right.
look, I'm sure there's a lot of things that you can do, but to me, it's more about like the convenience of it. And for me, I'm like, the act of simply ignoring an ad is infinitely more convenient than doing whatever it is that you're suggesting me to do. But having YouTube Premium is more convenient for me than just ignoring an ad. And so that's where I'm going to go. It's about convenience here.
It's like when people are like, jump through hoops and like, so I did this and I had to do this. And then I programmed this and I got this thing from GitHub and I have this really great now experience playing Switch on my PC. And it's like, you could have just spent $200 and bought a Switch. Like, what are you doing? Is your time not worth anything? Like, sometimes just leaning into it, in other words, is actually the path. The path of least resistance gets you where you want to go. And so, yeah, it's almost like people have an obsession with breaking the rules. And I think that's cool. And you need people like that in society. It's good. No problem with that at all. Yeah. But that's just not really me. It's going to be the path of least resistance. So as long as like I can just download ad block and it kind of like stops this shit from happening on my browsers, that's good enough for me. But if you don't want to see ads on YouTube, you really should just get YouTube Premium because it's great.
And it supports the creators you watch.
Right. It does. Yeah. I don't know if people know that. Good. I mean, I guess it's common sense, but like when you get your ad, all three of us are on YouTube, so we know. It's like when you look at your revenue, there's all these revenue sources and some of them is like revenue from ads. And then other is like, here's your YouTube Premium revenue. Yeah. Like the percentage of the person who paid for their premium and then watched your shit, like they gave you the money. It's cool.
Yeah, I think it's a YouTube Premium watch is worth more than a non-premium watch. Right. So,
and now you know.
Now you know.
That's all we have for today. All right, let's see. Daniel Caius wrote in and said, hey guys, I manage the East Coast operations of a coffee roasting company right outside of DC. Dustin, that's Vigilante Coffee. Hit me up for some samples and put down that Dunkin'. Anyway, yesterday I was helping my team through a rush and one of our customers hit me with a Tanvi when I asked for a name on the order. Suddenly I was whisked back through a flood of memories like Ego and Ratatouille to Chris reading the leaked Lara Croft script saying Tanvi in that horrific British accent. It took every fiber of my being not to say it back, just like Chris read it. Poor girl had no idea that 10,000 some odd people think her name is a made up joke. Just thought I'd share with you all as it had me busting up for the rest of the day. Oh, and Colin, that Chris Volpe interview was great. More of that, please. Thank you. 10,000. You're way underselling this show. Come on. 10,000 is a very respectable audience for a podcast. But you got to multiply that 5, 6, 7 times, depending on the episode. Please. Show some respect. Tanvi.
Tanvi, wait.
I guess I never identified that it was a real name either. So
yeah,
we all learned something today. All right.
I'm looking at the coffee from Vigilante. It looks good. Yeah. Very nice. Some single origins on here.
Daniel, send Dustin $500 in gift cards.
Yes. That would be fantastic.
Don't do that. I told you once that, like, I don't think he listens to this show, but he was a listener of Kind of Funny and IGN, the son of the CEO and founder of Alamo Drafthouse. And he sent and he sent us like just an insane amount of gift cards where I was like, this almost feels like wrong. Elijah Miller, we'll pay for your services. Elijah Miller wrote in and said, hello, CDC. During the Castlevania Symphony of the Night stream, Colin mentioned potentially jokingly, it was jokingly, that he would name his firstborn Alucard. Well, I'm writing in to say in fact, my son's name is Alucard. He will be 9 months old soon, and he has full understanding of what a great lineage his name carries. Yeah, I'm sure he does. If you are curious how our family reacted, my great-grandparents from both sides of my family were bothering us about our son's name, so my other spouse gave him, I have a question about that, gave him the nickname of Luca so they would leave us alone. Do you guys have any gaming-related names you would use for your children? By the way, Colin, I promise we aren't the multicolored haired Reddit. Oh, by the way, Colin, I promise we aren't the multicolored haired Reddit goblins you speak of when joking about polyamory. We are a closed off throuple, so we are non-monogamous, not polyamorous. Mm-hmm.
What?
I don't know what any of that
What he's saying is that it's a 3-way relationship. that is otherwise siloed off from other people. You do whatever you have to do.
Yeah.
Are any of you attractive? That's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. It's not for me to say.
He said they're not multicolored hair. It should be multicolored. Wait, multicolored haired.
Yeah,
Reddit goblins.
Yeah, he wrote it right.
Yeah,
by the way, Colin, I promise we aren't the multicolored haired Reddit goblins you speak of when joking. You can promise me all you want. But I'm going to be skeptical of that claim. Now, game names. I do have two that. Well, there's also a dog name that I always wanted to use, but it just won't work. Shadow in Final Fantasy VI he's the ninja character, like the mysterious ninja character, and he has a dog named Interceptor, which I think is awesome. And he just randomly appears in battle. Like you'll be fighting with Shadow, and then like randomly he'll just like attack someone in battle. Like the little dog sprite will like jump across and but like you can't name your Interceptor's too big of a name. And then there's no like short version of it that really makes any sense. So, but for people, if I had, Micah would never allow it to happen, but if we had kids and we had twins and it was a boy and a girl, Porum and Palom from Final Fantasy IV are names that I would absolutely want to use. But like totally straight up I would totally, if the opportunity was presented to me, that's how I would do it. Alucard, it's too hard. He has to be cool as fuck, or it's not going to work. You have to ensure that he's cool. It's very important to Alucard's future.
Yeah.
But if he was, if I owned this big corporation and he was signing, he applied for a job in the future and his name was Alucard, I would hire him fucking sight unseen.
Yeah. What about Richter? Because then
that's a cool name.
They could go by Rick.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have to sound nerdy to everybody. They could just pull out the Richter when they knew it would earn them some cred, I have thought of that.
This gets a little deeper into Colin's psychosis. I've thought of the name Richter. My most hated hockey team and my most hated pro team probably ever is the New York Rangers in hockey. And the great goalie on the New York Rangers for many years, including their 1994 Stanley Cup team, was Mike Richter. And I just can't do that. As a child of Long Island, I can't do it.
Sure.
So that name has been, because it's a great pull. I've thought of it. It's not going to work. For that reason, I would never be able to get around it. That's all I would think about. I would hate my son.
I would hate my son.
Do you guys remember when Skyrim came out, Bethesda said if someone's kid is born on the day the game comes out on 11/11/11 and they name him Dovahkiin, that they would get Bethesda games for the rest of their life?
That sounds familiar.
I do remember that.
Where is Dovahkiin today? That dude, Sacred Symbols Plus interview. How old would he be? How many years has it been since
14?
Skyrim?
He'd be 14.
How's little Dovahkiin doing? Let me see if I can find.
It would be so trivial too to like do that and then just change his name.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about it. It's like there's no way they would honor it.
Right.
You could just undo it.
That's the whole thing. Is like Todd Howard himself was like, you change this kid's name and it's fucking off. The bet's off. He walks into the room when they're signing the documents.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm looking. There's a Games Radar article from 2018. Here's where they are now. So I guess in 2018,
he would have been 7.
Yeah, there's a picture of him. I think his name is still Dovahkiin. Well, at least at the time, he was still Dovahkiin. He's going to regret it. Or his parents. Well, I guess he's not the one. He had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, and you kind of are what you are, right? Like, have you ever thought about yourself being named something else? I've never thought about it.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm just sure you are what you are.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be fine. I'm thinking about like what nickname could be made out of. Like what shorthand would you use for Dovahkiin?
Keen, maybe
say the whole thing. Vakeen?
Keen
doesn't sound like a bad name.
Keen? Yeah, or just
maybe
some the last syllable.
Seems like a lot. It seems like a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a little bit. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like generally I would avoid any name that would be too nerdy. But like, I think Nero is kind of a good name.
Yeah,
Like,
that is a cool name.
Um,
Pretty loaded, but
yeah, I mean, whatever. Nico, I like.
yeah, Nico's
Grand
cool.
Theft Auto. I really think about it more in the arena of like animals. Like I remember I always wanted to have like a dog, and I wanted to name it Crash. I didn't give a shit if it made sense or not. But just give your kids a normal name. You don't want too much attention.
Kratos.
That's absurd. And he's like the worst. He's like he's completely malnourished. He's got scoliosis.
Scoliosis. Oh, that would be dope. Love that.
Kratos, your EpiPen is here.
All right. Finally, it's a correction from Lil Renler. He says, "Hey boys, last week when reading off candy names, Colin said Reesees when reading Reese's. This stopped me dead in my tracks." Colin is usually so... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can finish it. I'm going to defend you after this.
Colin is usually so eloquent in his speech, and hearing him say Reese apostrophes as Reese's was wild. Please do better in the future. They are Reese's Pieces because it rhymes. Thanks for all you do regardless. You're absolutely right. That's all I wanted to say, in my opinion. When I said it, I knew it, and I don't know why I said it because I usually don't.
I know why you said it.
Oh, okay.
Because it was written that way.
Oh.
I remember this distinctly. Whoever wrote in misspelled it, and they spelled it in a way that you would have had to read it Reese's. I remember it because I was like, oh, well, we all know that that's not what it is, but that's how he read it. And I figured you were just doing like a thing where you're like, I do this sometimes too, passive aggressively, where I'll read things exactly as poorly written as they are.
Right.
And so I figured that's what you were doing. And I think it is, honestly. I think you just kind of forgot. But like, I remember this distinctly because I was like, that's not how that's spelled at all. But
yeah, thank you for that. Because I knew, like, I knew it the second I said it. I'm like, why? But you're right. I probably was just reading it more verbatim, and I rewrite. I don't rewrite, but I correct a lot of people's write-ins so that they read properly. Some people don't need them, but many people do. So I should just start passive aggressively reading everyone's comments as they're written. It'll be a lot of fun. Everyone got a fucking stroke. Half this shit. All right. So thank you for that, Lil Renler. Thank you for checking me. I need that every once in a while. But not too much. Not too much.
Yeah.
Now, Dustin, we're going to cut this back into the beginning of the news because I have a big piece of news for you guys.
Oh, so cut here.
Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed.
Oh,
no.
jeez.
It will now release on November 19th, 2026.
Oh, 11 minutes ago. I just see it. So I'm seeing it now.
Rockstar.
I'm hearing this for the first time.
I'm hearing for this. Yeah. Rockstar says on Twitter, "Hi, everyone. Grand Theft Auto 6 will now release on Thursday, November 19th, 2026. We are sorry for adding additional time to what we've realized has been a long wait, but these extra months will allow us to finish the game with the level of polish you have come to expect and deserve. We want to thank you again for your patience and support. While the wait is a little longer, we are incredibly excited for players to experience the sprawling state of Leonida and return to the modern day Vice City. Sincerely, Rockstar Games." It's so funny because I just did an appearance on a podcast that we'll publish in a couple weeks. Dan Allen Gaming. And we were talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, and I was like, oh no, it's not going to get delayed. I was saying like that is the delay. So that's going to look really great. November 19th, 2026. So more than a year from now. Chris, preliminary thoughts before? I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, I honestly didn't expect this. I will say and own straight up, I thought they were going to hit the May date.
No, me too. Yeah,
for sure.
I thought for sure. Yeah, like, I had the same reasoning as you, where it's like I thought this was the delay. And I guess technically it was. I don't know. I think I don't know. We'll see. That's a bummer though. Like I was kind of getting amped that we were getting closer and closer to this thing, and for it to be pushed a little bit further on is like that's a bummer. But I'm always going to be pro delay. If I don't think a game is ever worse off for having been delayed. I'll put it that way.
Dustin, thoughts on the delay? I mean, I guess I feel bad for anyone that was planning on releasing their game now in November. It's going to go head to head with Call of Duty, which is interesting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would, if they're going to delay it, I would rather them do it now than do it in like March like
Right.
just a few months out, because then it stings more because your anticipation's really high. Yeah, it's annoying, but I was looking at releases for early next year. I was like, we're never going to stop drowning ever.
Mm.
And so it makes a delay like this, at least for me, a little easier because I know that I'm always going to have stuff to play. So this has given them time for the 60 FPS mode on PS5 Pro, right?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh hell yeah.
Let's lock it in. That's what the delay is for.
It's going to come out with the PS5 Pro 2.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there as the opening piece of news. We have really nothing else to say, but we have to acknowledge that that's happening. It sucks, but more power to you. It just ratchets up the expectations, in my opinion, for me. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are really taking a lot of time, spending a lot of money on this thing. A delay of 6 months into late next year is not a trivial amount of money for them. So getting it right is important. I think that's the Strauss-Zelnick direction anyway, of saying like, good is the new whatever. Like you got to be great. And I think it's going to be great. It also gives me more time to catch up on Grand Theft Auto, since I want to go back and replay all the games again for no reason whatsoever. It also gives more time for that GTA 4 port that sometimes percolates to be released, which would be sick.
That would be sick.
Maybe get that in the spring. A pre-order bonus, perhaps, would be kind of neat. All right. Let's get into the news. Only a few big things this week, but worth talking about nonetheless. And the big thing is, as rumored, cloud streaming has officially arrived on PlayStation Portal with new support for digital PS5 games in your library. Takuro Fushimi over at the PlayStation blog, the senior manager of product management. That's an awesome fucking title, by the way. You're the senior manager of product management. It's like, okay, got to do something about these names. He writes at PlayStation, we're always working to push the boundaries on how players experience games. Since the PlayStation Portal Remote Player first launched back in November 2023, we've continued to evolve the device with updates like enhanced public Wi-Fi support and UX improvements. Last year, we also introduced the cloud streaming beta, which allowed PlayStation Plus premium members to access select PS5 games from the PlayStation Plus game catalog and classics catalog via cloud streaming without needing to connect to a PS5 console through remote play. Today, we're excited to share that PS Portal is receiving one of its biggest updates yet, starting on November 5th, so already happening because we're recording this on November 6th. Cloud streaming for PS5 games officially launches on PS Portal for PlayStation Plus premium members, along with a variety of new features that enhance how you can play. PlayStation Plus premium members can now stream select digital PS5 games from their own library. At launch, thousands of PS5 games support cloud streaming, including blockbusters such as Astrobot, Borderlands 4, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Fortnite, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Resident Evil 4, and Habroxia, surprisingly, is in there. No idea how that got sucked in. In addition, it's the only one of our games that's in there. In addition, hundreds of compatible games from the PlayStation Plus game catalog and classics catalog, including Cyberpunk 2077, God of War Ragnarok, Hogwarts Legacy, Sword of the Sea, and The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, are also streamable directly from the cloud. And there's a full list of games. I think it's 2,800 games. So this is apparently 3 times more than Xbox has in their cloud streaming, which is interesting. I didn't know that Sony was going to go this hard. Cloud streaming unlocks new ways to play, right? Enjoy a game side by side with a friend who's using your PS5 under a separate account, or stream your favorite game while someone else watches a movie on the console. Cloud streaming also makes it easier to enjoy PS5 games on the go, at a hotel, cafe, friend's place, or anywhere else with a high-speed internet Wi-Fi connection, since you can keep playing even when your PS5 console back home is powered off or in use by another account. As such, they have redesigned the UI. I went to play Plants vs. Zombies in bed last night. My Portal's at like 40% power. So it got me stuck in this permanent loop where it's like, download the update, and then I download and they're like, must have 50% power. And then I hit the download later button, and then it just freezes, and then it goes back into the download. So it just would not let me use it last night. So I need to download this. But when you do, there'll be a new UI thing in the upper left corner, and it'll show the console, like a console icon, the cloud icon, and then a search icon. The search icon is where you go to look for games. And this will connect you either to the game if it's on your library, or into the cloud version of the game. And then you can obviously use your console or whatever else. They're also allowing you to lock your Portal similar to a PS5, which is cool. And the ability to kind of interact with PSN stuff over the cloud streaming interface. So like if you're in a game, there's no obviously cloud version of the PlayStation Store per se, but it'll allow you to buy, if you're playing Monster Hunter or something, like you can go buy shit in the game. So they did a lot of work here. And as we said when Portal came out, it was obvious that they were starting slow and going to start to ramp this thing up. The Portal has suddenly become the most value-heavy, value-rich, interesting device in the PlayStation lineup, and is a sign of things to come, I think. But I also wonder how many people will actually use this. It is locked behind premium. We can talk about that, but let's get everyone on the record first. Dustin, let's go to you first. 2,800 plus games streamable to your Portal directly from Sony without having a PlayStation 5. So technically speaking, you can play most of the important games on PS5 without even a PS5 or a PC.
Right. Yeah. Right on your Portal. As long as you have the premium tier, you technically do not need a PS5 anymore. And that's pretty interesting. I would love to try this out. I tried the beta and I thought it was pretty good, but there was still like, you don't want to play Doom on that with that kind of latency. There's still certain games, at least for me, maybe it's my location from a data center. Like I have great, 2 gig fiber internet. Actually, I have 8 gig now, so I'm like really balling over
the
here.
Future.
But maybe it's just the data center. Data center isn't close enough for me. But certain other games, absolutely, you could play, and like either a slower game like an RPG or something that doesn't require a super fast latency. But when I tried Doom on the beta, it was mixed. I'd like to try it again. Usually, my PlayStation Plus just renewed recently, and so I'm on the standard tier. Usually towards the end, they give you the option to update it for the rest of the year at a reduced price, like a prorated price. And so maybe I'll do that at some point 8 months from now or something. But it's pretty interesting. I wonder, because right now, this feature, if I'm understanding this blog post correctly, is exclusive to the Portal. But I would imagine that they want to expand this to the phone app as well that you can stream from, where if you have a backbone and your phone, or there's also the streaming app on PC that works right now exactly like the Portal used to, where it is purely streaming your home PS5 to that app or PC application, whatever. I would assume at some point they're going to want to expand that, and then
they would have to drop the PS Plus stuff, right? If they did that for everybody.
Not necessarily, because to use those apps, you still need to log in.
So it would still presumably be for a PlayStation consumer then.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, you wouldn't even, that would be the craziest thing to me. If as long as you had a phone and a controller or a PC or a laptop, that you could get access to this without ever needing a PlayStation or even a PlayStation physical product of the Portal. I would imagine that's the direction it's going.
We'll see. Yeah, I think that's a nice idea. I think, well, we'll talk about my idea after. Let's get Chris on the record here. Chris, where are you on this? 2,800 plus games streamable directly to PS Portal from the PSN. Are you interested?
It's cool. I like that it has, I like that they're adding more functionality to these devices. I think it's just making it a lot more of a worthwhile proposition for your average person. But because I think initially, like, because it was so limited to like, okay, this is something that you need in addition to a PS5, it becomes a little bit less appealing. But now that theoretically you could just kind of bypass the console altogether, that is kind of cool. But it doesn't. Again, for all the reasons that I think Dustin brought up, it's just like, it's not really going to appeal to me, because most of the games that I would choose to play in general are games that would probably require such low latency that I would just notice. We're not really there yet. I'm not sure that we will be anytime soon either, but adding value to the machine like that is cool. And it's interesting. It's different. It's weird. The flexibility of this being so that you don't need a console is interesting too. I don't know what it seems like. It seems like kind of an un-Sony move in a lot of ways. So I don't know how to interpret it really, but it seems like a win overall. I suddenly am a lot more interested in this.
Yeah, for me, there's a few things to say. Well, let's get some some listener inquiries here. Well, one of them is specifically from Pace. It says, "Hey CDC, does the PS Portal have access? Does the PS Portal having access to the 2,800 plus cloud streamable PS5 games finally give PS Plus premium validity? I've been using the cloud streaming beta on my Portal for months now, and I found it more stable than the remote play. Cloud streaming only needs a 5 megabits connection versus remote play 25. Playing on the go is a much more viable option now, and to me, that's much more worth the premium subscription. Thanks. I'll sit back and listen as I stroll into oncoming traffic playing Astrobot." Astrobot on that thing seems like it would be unthinkable. Again, because of the latency issues. Although, like you're saying, it works great, and I'm sure it does work as well as it's going to work for now. So a lot of people are upset about this being locked behind premium, PlayStation Plus Premium, the highest PlayStation Plus tier. I don't know that this will always be the case. My assumption is that it will always be behind PlayStation Plus, but I don't think it will necessarily be behind the premium tier. I think, again, as I said last week, they probably are trying to throttle things a little bit and see how things work, and also extract some value and see if people are interested. I think what people forget, and it's something that I really never considered too deeply until more recently and started reading about it and understanding it better, is that there is a cogent argument to be made that these companies don't want you to really cloud stream. Like that it's really expensive for them. And the price of admission, that's why the phone thing is interesting to me, Dustin, because it's like, do they really want to like disassociate from PlayStation Plus? Like, they don't want you to buy games and then they have to serve them to you. They want you to buy the game and then you download it on your console or to like whatever home environment you have. You use your electricity, your internet connection. They want to like detach from you. And I didn't, until I started reading about it, I was like, wow, this is actually very intensive. It's like the worst possible way for them to sell you a game. And so I think there is a little bit like, so in other words, they've known this when they bought Gaikai back in the day and launched PlayStation Now. They've known that this was an eventuality for a long time, and it's going to play some role in the future ecosystem, but I don't think it's the be all end all of the way people are going to access games. And I think there's a feeling of like needing to be there, needing to have that option, needing to be able to flip that switch reliably. But at the same time, it doesn't really behoove them to push you in that direction. So they make it somewhat onerous to access it. You have to have the portal. You have to have PlayStation Plus Premium. It's like, to me, that says something about them trying to subsidize their own losses, because somewhere in some server farm they own is a PS5 environment being run on a PC or something. And they're playing the game there and it's being sent to you. And that sucks for them. I don't think people consider that about the economics of it. I also question the use case kind of for most people. It'll make me want to bring my portal to test it now in a hotel or something, or like somewhere else where I know there's reliable internet and I can use it, and it'll be cool and it'll probably work pretty well, especially for games that, like you said, are turn-based or like less intensive. I think that'll be awesome. But I'll just continue to play locally, and I love the portal. I play it almost every day, but it's running off of my local PS5, which is connected to an Ethernet cable 5 seconds away from the fucking, or 5 inches rather away from where I'm sitting. So of course it works. So those are the two things I wanted to throw out there. The first is like the economic reality of cloud streaming for the company. And the second thing is the use case, which I think is limited. And I think somewhere in there, they want to make it a little bit, they don't want it to be frictionless. Because a future where everyone is using cloud streaming is a future where they're in big trouble. Yeah. And all of us are, because like we don't make enough electricity to fucking serve all this shit that people want to stream from clouds and all this. I don't know. Does that, Dustin, you're much more technological than me. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I guess I wonder if PlayStation Plus Premium is profitable enough that the cost of running the stream is not really that bad in comparison. Like they're totally fine with it. If you're on that premium tier, they're making so much extra cash off you per month or per year that it's like, yeah, whatever, And I think too, I was thinking like with a server, in some ways, I mean, they make money off consoles now. Because if this was a few generations ago, they could cut out the loss of a console, but that's not the case anymore. So it's certainly, I wonder what the environmental aspect of it is, because instead of in a cloud streaming world, let's say a post-console world, where you have all of these servers, instead of a PS5 being in every home, it's like everyone's sharing a large portion of PS5s. And I wonder if that's desirable from an environmental level. Of course, servers are sucking up power at an alarming rate.
It's bad.
So, but this is, I don't know. I guess I'm starting to speak about things I have no idea about. Like, what is the power draw of a PlayStation 5 server versus an AI server that's running crazy shit? It's probably
AI is
a huge difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be it's probably environmentally devastating to cloud streaming. I mean, we're going to talk later about just even physical games versus digital games, because you're turning like a 50 gigabyte package that would be delivered once into something that can potentially be terabytes of stream data over the time you play it, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's I don't know. It just seems so I agree with you in that they do make premium is probably a very profitable endeavor for them, and this probably does. I guess what we're saying is we're illustrating why it would be behind such a tier. And then I'm saying, like, if they do a phone thing, it's going to be aimed at people that are already in the PlayStation ecosystem as opposed to truly spreading the field. Because the Portal is as close as they've gotten now to spreading the field, where they're like, you could actually just buy the Portal now. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you could. Yeah, I guess you could just make your PSN name on the internet and then just log in.
Dan, you can I'm trying to remember what the article said. Can you buy games directly on the Portal?
Yeah, you can. I saw our friend Sandy Bride tweeted out hours ago from when we're recording, this is how you search for games and find them, and then you can buy them like right on the thing. So
yeah, well, there you go.
So that's about as close as they've gotten to doing it, to really doing it. And it's interesting. The Portal's actually kind of like I don't know. It's so interesting how this thing has kind of erupted into and created a sort of path for the future for not only handheld gaming, but cloud gaming and remote gaming and all the rest. Go ahead, Dustin.
Just to clarify, because I know I felt the comment coming. So if you're typing it, delete it.
Delete it.
If you search a game, it'll give you a QR code that you scan, and it'll bring up the PlayStation app or a web browser, and that's where you purchase. So you don't purchase it directly on the Portal. You purchase it, it'll give you the directions to purchase it.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's true, right? Because they did make a video like of how it all works. PlayStation did. And they say that in there. I rarely ever use QR codes. I should use them more often. It just doesn't even, when you go into stores now and you can just this has been going on for a while, but you can scan your chip now and just hold it over the thing. You used to swipe your card, right? Then you would put your card in. Now you just hold it over. I still just put it in because that's what I'm used to. And I realize that I don't have to do that anymore. QR codes are the similar way where it's you could just use the QR code.
Do you use Apple Pay?
Yeah, for a couple of things.
Apple Pay is awesome.
It's connected to my credit card though. So it's really just 601.
Oh, yeah. I have mine on my credit card. So.
All right. So cloud streaming on Portal. I don't have PlayStation Plus Premium. I only have Essential. I'm not going to get PlayStation Plus Premium, so I will not be able to do that. But I continue to highly recommend the Portal. I just think it's fucking exceptional. It really is. It always was. A lot of naysayers when it came out. I haven't forgotten.
I'm still a little bit of a naysayer.
Everyone called me a fanboy for loving the Portal when it came out. But I was like, no, it really works. It really works. Yeah, you are still a bit of a naysayer. I think at $200, it's a fucking steal. As a compliment to your PS5. I can't believe it's still $200. I feel like that's not going to be forever. Yeah. They must have had a lot of these Xperias just sitting around, these tablets. We got to do something with this fucking thing.
I'm sure they did.
We got to do something with these fucking things.
I'm sure they had a lot of Xperias.
I still just love, as we brought up a couple of weeks ago, the early Portals would be connected, would sometimes be read by your router as an Xperia tablet. And that just gave the whole game away. Whew. All right. But it's comfortable to use. I really do highly recommend it. I really, really love it. Especially if you have a wife or a husband or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you're together, but you're doing separate things and someone wants to use the TV. It's the perfect use case. It's awesome. All right, guys, I'm curious what you think of this next one. There has been so there's a Twitter user that really is the source of all this named Amethyst with an X in there somewhere. And they tweeted out that a series of symbols from the PlayStation Store, some of which are familiar, some of them are not. So like a cloud gaming symbol and a touchpad symbol and all the rest. But one of these symbols is cross-buy. And the other one is PS5, PC. Now the PS5, PC thing is kind of begun to show up with trophies already. So we already kind of know about this, but this could also indicate something from the store. And so people have been really writing about this over at Push Square. Our friends over there wrote, a mysterious new cross-buy icon has been data mined on the PS5. The symbol, discovered on the console itself, was first shared by Amethyst on X, who says he believes it has been added since March 2025. Well, and now that would line up because I think that's when the PC PS5 trophy icon started appearing. While other icons discovered by the user are already in use, such as for the power saver mode. So the power saver mode is like a little leaf icon with an electric bolt over it. Let's see, where am I? Oh yeah. The cross-buy and PS5 PC logos have never been seen before. They match Sony's overall design language and therefore are legit. It remains to be seen how Sony intends to use these symbols, but our best guess is that it's planning to offer cross-buy between PS5 and PC purchases, a little bit like Xbox's own Play Anywhere strategy. Whether this means that the Japanese giant is also plotting its own PC-based version of the PlayStation Store remains to be seen, although it will be difficult for the company to convince users to move away from Steam. Perhaps it hopes the lure of cross-buy will achieve that. And this was later confirmed, so they have an update, a small update from Deal Labs. So Deal Labs is the French leaker and data miner that always has reliable stuff about PlayStation Network. Based on additional investigation, confirms the new cross-buy icon is indeed real and was added as recently as June 2025. This is important because it proves it's not legacy code attached to, say, the PS3 and PS Vita, but a new feature that Sony's plotting. It also discovered the cross-buy tag in CSS files, further suggesting something is afoot here. Dustin, what's happening here? Is Sony about to launch a PC store? Because this is the only way it works. And because, just to be clear, they could offer you cross-buy on, this is an important caveat, they could give you Steam and Epic Games cross-buy on their own games. Like, that's just up to them to want to do that, right? Or would Steam want their cut of that?
I would assume Steam would want to cut.
The reason I say this is because, like, they could manufacture codes that would, like, give people free access. They just give games away or whatever. I wonder, in other words, if there's some way to circumvent it. Because it just seems, I guess when I'm trying to find a way this would work is because it seems so improbable that they would want to make a PC storefront, right? Just because it's not going to work. It's not that it won't be cool or it won't be neat in its own way. It's just it's not going to compete. So anyway, take it away.
Well, and I think that the Push Square article, I think it was Push Square that you were reading from, makes the compelling point is that many have tried to make a competing storefront on PC. Epic Games, most notably, was giving away video games for I'm pretty sure it's literally years. They might still give away games.
I think they still do, yeah.
It wasn't enough to sway people at all.
Yeah, people refused, like, we'll just wait to be able to buy it on Steam like 2 years later. It's so funny.
Right, yeah. They were locking down huge exclusives on the Epic Games Store, and that's still, it only pissed people off more than anything. So if PlayStation was to do this, in order to do cross-buy, in my mind, they would need to have their own launcher. But what is the compelling thing to get people to do it? And it would have to be cross-buy. Because in a hypothetical situation where certain games were cross-buy, I could see them getting this ready for Marathon, a live service game, where they would prefer to make 100% of the money on it, but when they sell it on Steam, they have to give a cut to Gabe and his crew over at Valve. And so, yeah, they would much rather have their own storefront where they can sell it to you and then they make 100% of the money, but no one wants to do that because they have their library on Steam. But if they offer the option where it's like, hey, if you buy it on our store, you also get the PlayStation version. And maybe that's not compelling. I mean, it's going to depend on each person, whether or not that's something that appeals to you. For me, in a game like Marathon, I will play that game 95% of the time on PC because I'm playing multiplayer. I like having my Discord there. I just like playing, and I like playing first person shooters on PC with a mouse and keyboard. But if they offered me the option that's like, hey, if you buy it, you also get it on PlayStation, I would be super into that, because there's some times where it's like, oh, I want to do a solo run. I'm already sitting on my couch. But I wouldn't buy the PlayStation version just to do that for the occasional use. But if it was available to me, it's like, well, maybe I will purchase it on the PlayStation Store, the PC launcher, and then just set it up, because you can set it to link to your Steam. So you can still have it as an icon in your Steam library. Just when you click it, it's going to bring up the PlayStation launcher. Important to note too, now that we're getting into a little bit into the weeds, if they do a launcher, they're going to add it to all their games. And it doesn't matter whether you buy it on Steam or not. They're going to make it so when you buy a game like Marathon, if it does have a launcher, it's still going to launch the PlayStation launcher even from Steam. That's the way EA does it. Well, maybe EA doesn't do it anymore, but there are many companies that do that where you still got to have their shit installed. PC gamers absolutely love it when there's a secondary launcher that you have to do on top of Steam. But I'm willing to bet that's what they'll do.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with most of what Dustin's talking. I think ultimately they just want to make 100% of the money, from whatever it is that they're selling. And so their goal doesn't seem, as long as their goal isn't to necessarily compete with like, oh, we're going to build this like grand, this grand Steam competitor that's going to like really like go toe to toe with Steam. It's like, no, this is just an option. So players who own a PlayStation 5 can get more value out of their game, but then also we'll get the money for the things that we sell. As long as they keep the vision kind of focused, I think it could potentially work. Launchers like this are finicky. Like I've always hated every single launcher that although to be fair, it's not necessarily that other launchers inherently are bad. It just seems to be that for whatever reason, every time Uplay would launch, or what was the Origin, or all these other things, they would be on PC, but they would look like there's something about it that was very like console, or very like, I don't know, just not very like PC friendly in comparison to Steam. Like Steam feels like Steam feels like a website. I think Discord in a lot of ways does too. And I think that's why people like use it. But yeah, Uplay and even Epic Game Store to a lot of degree, like they hide a lot of things under sub menus because they want to have like a clear, like clean, like console ready UI, even though they're not available on console. It's very weird design decisions. But if they have like a more like PC focused kind of game launcher that just, hey, you can buy your games here and you don't have to double buy them. I mean, that's going to be appealing to at least some people. They're going to get something out of it. I just wonder what the cost would be of even operating something like that, and whether or not it would be worth it for them. I just can't see a world where they have cross-buy enabled and they don't have their own bespoke launcher, because I know what you're saying, where it's like, okay, they'll buy, like they can buy, let's say there's a cross-buy version of like God of War or whatever, and they buy it on PlayStation, and then like your thing is, I guess, like they send you a Steam code.
Yeah, right. Like there's like some bullshit way, because it just that, like, I'm trying to think of a more novel way that it would be done, because it just can't be like its own thing. So then like maybe it's what Dustin's saying is like, yeah, it's some sort of overlay. I don't know. That's why I was just trying to think, like, how would you even do it? Like, could it even be like, and again, these are just novel ideas. I don't think these are really what's happening, but it's like, could it be something where Sony is basically just paying Steam? Because it's not all of the money that Steam would get. Steam would get 30% of the buy. So does Sony charge $10 more for these cross-buy games or something, and then that helps them absorb like a lump sum monthly payment for copies given away for free on Steam or whatever? Like, I have no idea how it works, but it's like, because it just doesn't compute otherwise, pardon the pun, to me, just based on the guarantee of it not sticking. So maybe it is like something, so it could just be a dead end kind of thing too. And I don't mean that so it's a bad term, but it's not meant to be this wider market. It's like this PC thing that PlayStation fans download.
Right.
right?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it would aim to be.
Yeah.
I don't think they're aiming for like an Epic Games situation. I don't think
Right,
they're aiming
right.
to like lock exclusives into, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're like trying to lock down like a PlayStation PC Store exclusive and it's not available on Steam or nothing. I think it literally is for Marathon and a couple of their live service games where I do think, if I were to get Marathon, I would buy it on Steam. Like that's where I would buy it. Like unquestionably. And so that's something to consider. If you can cross buy these things and if I can access that on PlayStation and PC, if I just buy it on the PlayStation Store, I would do that. Because why wouldn't I do that? And I think because they're more invested, or they're beginning to be, with Fair Games maybe later on and Marathon more imminently. That's something to consider. Although like there is an argument to, I don't know. Because then there's the double dip argument where you could make 100% and then maybe get that 30% rip or the 70% rip on the other thing. But like very few people buy things twice, I think, in comparison to the overall market.
Right. And Steam has like, doesn't Steam have like a much lower cut until you sell like 1 million copies too? So like there are like, I don't know. Dustin, I think your kind of notion of this overlay,
I wouldn't call it an overlay. I would imagine it's going to be a PlayStation launcher. There was article.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
There was an article in I can't remember where it was, but PlayStation, when they were data mining the Spider-Man release on PC, there were references to a PlayStation PC launcher in it. So this is something I think they've been cooking for a while.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. It's interesting then so I guess people are looking at this through the lens of the Xbox Play Anywhere thing. Mm-hmm. But maybe it could just be something, much more limited. Although those Play Anywhere games exist on Xbox's PC platform, right? Too.
Yes.
Even if they're third party. So I guess you would have to.
I think so. I think not many games on Xbox are Play Anywhere that are third party.
Right.
If any, like I kind of don't. I'm sure there must be some.
There are some, I think.
Yeah, I would imagine though that it's mostly that's like a first party kind of initiative for them.
Yeah. So okay. So
let me look it up.
Yeah, knowing that's a. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder. It might get me to mess around with PC gaming more. Not that my PC now can do it much, but in the future. But at the same time, I'm just kind of happy on the console. I get their need to want to spread the field here, though. Obviously, it's a necessity. And really, if you think about it logically, and this is true for all the hardware manufacturers, really, there is a logical continuity between having like a piece of hardware and a storefront on the hardware, and then just having your storefront on PC ultimately. It's the same business model. In fact, you're removing a lot of risk by not having the console, but you're leaving money on the table too, because they are ostensibly a major just distributor of games, just funneled through their own hardware. So they're just they're opening the aperture a little bit. And I don't hate it. I think it's necessary. I think some people are going to really dislike this sort of thing, but it's what you were saying, Chris, too, about the realities of the limited reality of what like this cross-buy initiative, wherein it's really going to be first and second party things. And I guess maybe agreements they have with third parties, but if they have, this is another interesting part. So if they say like Final Fantasy 16 is like a or like a cross-buy game, becomes a cross-buy game, they would have to upload a PC version of it to the PlayStation launcher, like this bespoke PC version that would that obviously exists on Steam, but it's going to be its version that runs that a few people are going to use off this play. It just seems like such wasted effort. It doesn't quite make sense, I guess. But I don't know. You were going to say something, doesn't it look like you were going to?
Oh, well, I was like, I think that getting the PC version to run on it just is booting through and has DRM through a PlayStation launcher. So I don't think it would be a lot of effort for them to do that. But I'm curious about what the scope would be of a PlayStation PC launcher. I would imagine it's like you guys are saying, where it's first party, second party games pretty much exclusively. And the other thing too, to bring up this cross-buy element, is that I wonder what games will be included in this cross-buy. In the crazy pro-consumer move, when they launch this, it's like, hey, if you own any of our titles that are available on PC, if you own them on PlayStation, you instantly have them on PC as well. Just download the PlayStation launcher. If you bought God of War digitally, if you bought Spider-Man digitally, you can now access those on PC. That would be crazy and awesome for a lot of people.
That is presumably what they're going to do, you would assume, right? I mean,
I think there's a possibility where they could just have it be for select like live service games.
Yeah.
Like Marathon.
Right.
Or something.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So
or just things going forward, I would imagine.
Yeah, or going forward.
Yeah, because what I guess the lens I'm looking at it through, Dustin, is like what games are already on Steam. Like you're saying, it'll be somewhat of a technical triviality to mimic those games and bring them over in a suitable way on the PlayStation launcher. Therefore, do we wake up one day with the Days Gone PS5 version where it's suddenly like, yeah, here it is. If you own it, there it is. And it works for Horizon, and it works for God of War and Ghost of Tsushima and Helldivers. And
that would be awesome. Wouldn't be awesome for me because it would not work since I don't own those games digitally. So it's another way to also probably kick people out of physical.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's the way it goes, though, I guess. I mean, you have to kind of know what you're getting into, I suppose. Yeah, but yeah, they want to bully you. They want to bully the fuck out of you guys at this point.
Oh, well, dude, when that handheld comes out, the handheld for PlayStation 6, if you want it to work on both versions, I would assume that you're going to need to buy it digitally. They could do a thing where
pass, like some sort of pass, right? Remember, like the old
you could do a
passes?
thing where it's like you can play as long as the disc is in your PS5 or your PlayStation 6 and it's connected to the internet, then you can download it on your PlayStation 6 portable and then play it. But I don't know, man. I think they're trying to get people out. They want to make it as annoying as possible for people like me.
They will. And so this is interesting. It's exciting to see. And so two things I want to say about this. One, I want to bubble up that I've said in the past several times about the trophy situation is they started, and that's what I was saying, is that PS5 PC logo that people are like circulating alongside the cross-buy logo and some of these other like eco mode like things that they have going on is this idea that they've already collapsed the trophy lists between the PS5 and PC versions if you log into your PSN on Steam. And I feel like that was stupid. I know this is not like a widely held or important thing to a lot of people, but they should have kept the list separately because you would court people to play the games again and even buy them again if they own them physically or they rented them or they borrowed them. I just think that was stupid. And I understand where they were going because they want to make it tantalizing for you to log into PSN and feel like you're getting something, but you could have gotten something on PSN, the PC list of trophies. So that's just a mistake. That's neither here nor there, but I wanted to bring that up. The other thing is it's just good to see cross-buy again. Sony kind of popularized that term. I think a lot of people, we use that term as just kind of gaming nomenclature now, but it was the PS3 and Vita versions of games that were literally called cross-buy that we first started really using that nomenclature in the console space, and it went away for a while. And it was awesome. Remember PlayStation you had to buy the games, some of the games separately, but some of the games you got like upgrade paths for, I think, but like there were so many PS3 and Vita launches of so many games. And we kind of take for granted now, and I think reasonably so, because it should be this way, that when I bought Final Fantasy Tactics, for instance, and then I go to the download list, I bought the PS4 version too. They just don't call it the same thing anymore. So bringing that little bit of marketing back, I think, is positive and cool. And I like seeing Sony be quiet but aggressive. It's good. They have to continue down this path of democratizing, for lack of a better word, their catalog. And you don't want to be maybe on rival hardware, but you certainly want to be on this ubiquitous platform that everyone seems to be migrating to. We'll chronicle this as it happens. I won't have to worry about it because this PC won't play anything, probably.
Oh, no, it definitely would.
Would it?
It would. It just wouldn't run it at like 4K.
Yeah. So like, what's the point of not playing on my PS5 at that point?
Yeah. You'll get a better experience on your PS5 Pro. Absolutely.
Some games I would like to, it's funny to say this because people would think it would be like anathema to the way I play games. And it really is. But there were like mouse and keyboard games that I was pretty good at. Like when I was younger. Soldier of Fortune is the specific game that comes to mind for me, the PC shooter that I used to play online all the time. And I wish that they would bring some of that. Like, I like playing on a mouse and keyboard. It's just not really the way I do it anymore. And I'd prefer a controller, but it would be cool to be able to jump back and forth. And again, I wish that those options were just available in the console versions of the games.
Yeah.
Like, what's really stopping you from doing that? They should make official hardware, like a keyboard, a mouse.
Yeah. I know you can play Battlefield with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, these are like new, like there are a few other games too.
Yeah.
But it should just be like a ubiquitous thing. Like you would think, I don't know, you would think you would want to sell more hardware. I guess most people wouldn't buy their shit. They would just plug in whatever they wanted. But
yeah, I think that's ultimately like everybody has a keyboard. You know.
All right. Anything else to say about this topic before we move on?
No.
Good. Because it's over. We're moving on to topic 3. We have a write in here from the Diddler. We heard from the Diddler recently. He's here again. Yeah. Says, hi, CDC. What's going on with the inconsistent pricing on PSN? My friend and I noticed, thanks to Twitter, that Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition is showing an 80% discount for some users and 85% for others. We are both from Ohio, made our accounts when PSN started, and have Ohio-based credit cards linked to our PSN accounts. The only major difference between us is that I usually buy games digitally, spend more on PSN overall, and have a PS Plus premium subscription, while he's on the Essential tier. FYI, we both bought Red Dead Redemption 2 digitally when it was first released. Is Sony charging different prices based on user behavior and spending history? That doesn't seem right. Could this be a glitch? Has Sony always been diddling users with this type of pricing? Please help this make sense. My friends, it seems like it is happening. This is not the first time people have seen this, but Insider Gaming writes, PlayStation's rumored dynamic game pricing services again. And they write, dynamic pricing continues to be a touchy subject across all forms of media, and PlayStation owners are seeing more alleged evidence of Sony utilizing the concept to give players different deals and prices for the same game. It's fair to say that dynamic pricing is nothing new, although the concept has hit the mainstream in recent years due to the escalating cost of concert tickets. Whereas all tickets used to be a set price, dynamic pricing means a venue or service can change the price of the same seats according to the market. This trend seems to have crossed over into gaming. PlayStation's dynamic game pricing was first spotted in 2024, and almost a year later, it shows no signs of stopping. So it all began on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit a year ago, where people started noticing dynamic pricing, and now it's popped back up on the PlayStation subreddit. And they have actual pictures of, and this is what the person was referencing, Red Dead Redemption 2 Ultimate Edition being sold for $20 to one person and to $15 for the other person. And the user on Reddit writes this with the pictures, quote, was excited to finally purchase Red Dead 2 until I realized the price was lower on my wife's account. Same region, same PlayStation, same currency. And now to the point of the Diddler's write-in, he was saying like one person is on PS Plus Essential, one person is on PS Plus Premium, one person buys digital games, one person buys physical games, and they're trying to use this pricing to court people to, I guess, economically behave differently. I don't like it because I don't like it from the perspective of knowing that I could be getting ripped off if I had just waited. This was the argument that people made about PlayStation Plus free games. I don't know if you guys recall that for most of the life of PlayStation Plus, you had no clue what was going to be on PS Plus until it was just announced, and you could have literally bought the game like 2 days before or 2 minutes before. They'd be like, sorry. So they started warning everyone because people were getting so upset. Like, don't buy this game. It'll be free in 3 weeks. Don't buy it.
And I mean, that could still theoretically happen still. You know what I mean? Because you could buy it before they announce it. You know, even if it is an early warning, you could, you know what I mean? Like you could have waited like a month as opposed to like instantly being like, oh, fuck, I just bought this and now it's free versus like, oh, I just bought this and now it's going to be, and now it's announced that it's going to be free in 3 weeks. It's not really that different, I think.
The bigger thing for me is, and I appreciate this, is that, and they've done this for a few years now too, is like when games are on sale, they'll tell you when the game won't be on sale anymore. So like there's a level of transparency that I appreciate that just, it's probably a little economically painful for them to do, but it probably stops them from getting, I would argue, more than half of the complaints that they probably get to their the people that have to tender all these things in their customer service departments. So it's like worth it to just make it easier and more transparent. But yeah, I'm kind of like neutral on this. I don't really know exactly how I feel about this. Chris, where are you on dynamic pricing, and have you run into it on PlayStation yet? I guess I wouldn't really notice. So yeah, I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't notice. I just have my account. I don't like it like on a principle level. Like I'm not like up in arms about it in any real way, but like I look at it and I'm like, I'm not a fan of this. Just give us a ubiquitous price. I'm not a fan of. I understand why it's done. Like I understand like different players have different habits and different subscription tiers are technically a different value of customer, like to the people selling you things. Like I get it, but I just prefer sales to be pretty holistic and pretty. Like I don't want to be like. I think from my perspective, it's like, oh, if I recommend somebody a game, right, and I'm like, oh, you should get this game. It's on sale. It's like $15, and then they go and it's like, dude, it's 20, and I'm like, well, when I feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like that aspect of it where everybody gets a different version of reality. That's already a problem in a broad sense. You know, I don't need it being manifested into some schizophrenic pricing strategy. Like I'm all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Dustin, where are you on the dynamic pricing and how does it strike you? And you and your wife both play games, so maybe you would run into it if you paid attention.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have her own PlayStation account, and she doesn't play on PlayStation very often. She's more on Switch or PC.
Nerd alert.
Yeah, I think this totally sucks, and it's why we should be skeptical of PlayStation being the only storefront to buy games from them. Because right now, whether it's physical or some other seller of being able to buy digital games online, in a future where it's only PlayStation Network, it's like, yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they want. And if they feel like they could charge you specifically more for a game, or they can try to convince you by giving you a little bit of a deal, I think that sucks. I think it sucks particularly if that's the only option. And, even on Steam, there are third-party site. You don't have to buy a Steam game on Steam. And I'm not even talking about necessarily like shady key reseller sites like G2A or something like that. There are legitimate sites like Green Man Gaming, which offer a competition to Steam storefront. You don't have that on PlayStation. If you want to buy a game digitally on PlayStation Network, you must buy it through Sony. And so the more grip they have over it, the more they can pull shit like this. So that's why I've always said that even if you don't like physical games and you never want to buy one again, you should be in favor of them existing as simply another option. So there is a little bit of competition in the space of buying and selling these games. So
how would you work that out for PSN digitally? You would want there to be like a competing PSN enabled storefront, or just a storefront that could sell codes that would be dynamically made by the developer or something. I guess I understand what you're saying, but I don't understand how you could ever cut Sony out of selling games on their own store.
So I gotta be 100% honest. I don't know the business model of Green Man Gaming or how it works, because clearly they are Steam codes that are legitimate, and they're not like. So a lot of these sites like cdkeys.com or G2A, a lot of times they are selling you a worldwide version of a game. And so that's how it's able to be a cheaper price, is that it's taking advantage of different currencies throughout the world. So you maybe be able to get a game a little cheaper that way. I think it's against Steam's terms of service, but I don't know if they necessarily even do anything about it. So I'm honestly not sure how that would work. I just know that it does work on the PC front in terms of games. So that would be an interesting thing. Like, let's see.
I'm reading about it now. Like,
yeah,
it seems like they buy like bulk codes potentially from publishers, but I'm wondering, like, it does seem weird, like that Valve wouldn't do anything about that.
Right.
I guess Steam benefits greatly from their libertarian reputation, and I think the second they start fucking around with that, even if it costs them, they risk blowing their whole thing up, and it's so good. You don't want to, it's like fine. Yeah. Like just
right.
Don't fix what ain't broken.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Right. So even if it's not like there's another storefront to buy digital PlayStation games, because I don't think Sony's going to give up that grip. And obviously the PlayStation Store is a very different thing than Steam. But either way, having the physical option, at least to maybe if you don't interact with it, but as a way to keep some of these digital prices honest, because PlayStation Store is the most likely place that you're going to get ripped off on an old game.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Like when you bought Kingdom Hearts, it cost you $50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is insane compared to like even a brand new copy of that physical. There's no way it would be $50.
Yeah. You make a very compelling argument, because I guess I'm a little more neutral on it in that the undercutting and the competition. Yeah. It's not happening between corporate entities, but it's happening between customers, so it's almost the same outcome. In other words, if the MSRP of a game is $60 and a company decides to sell it for $55, they're basically eating into their entire profit, and so they simply don't, because the physical game profits are not high. So they for the seller, so they just don't do that. But then you start months later, as we're talking about, start seeing like vastly different pricing, and that is a product of the market, but the same outcome for the customer. So it seems kind of like a company store. Like I always bring up that reference of, and a little bit manipulative. So yeah, I agree with you that there is a little bit more to it than that. But I also don't hate the idea of them doing this if they were transparent about it. And maybe they are transparent about it somewhere. In other words, saying, because the guy that wrote in was saying that that may be an important part of it, or at least he was outlining like that they are at different levels of PlayStation Plus, and that their purchasing behavior is different. And I wouldn't mind them saying two things. One is like, you could even say dynamic pricing can be a benefit of PlayStation Plus Premium or PlayStation Plus Extra, where it's like, if you're at PlayStation, if you don't have PlayStation Plus, you don't experience any dynamic pricing. You get the highest possible prices. If you're on PlayStation Plus Essential, you'll get mixed in sometimes, and algorithmically or however they do it, it'll really ramp up the more you're like in PlayStation Plus, and that's part of it. I'm like, and it's like, you'll just benefit more from these like random deals that you might get that like our like computers are just spitting out every so often, because this game's overselling, this game's underselling in the moment. Very similar to how Walmart always knows, like you buy the fucking bottle of water, it tells the computer tells you like they need to send more water, so that like when the next water's gone, they're already filling it back in. It could be like a very similar computer-based thing that you benefit from the more you spend money. And I don't mind them saying that, but like, just be if that's the case. But I just think that you should just be transparent with it. And I think that could be a really compelling thing for customers. You want to like, the people that are spending the most money on your system should benefit the most from the deals.
Right.
I've said this a million times. It's like, there should be no way that a person like PlayStation 6, if there's like a run on them, which there probably will be, right? It's like the person who spent all of this money on PS5 and has like been with you, and you have all of this data from them dating all the way back to the beginning of the PSN. It's like, they shouldn't have any issues getting a PlayStation 6. Period. Like, I truly believe that. Like, they should get an email and like a PS Plus invite and all these things. Like, are you first access to PS6? Do you want the PS6? Of course they should get that. So I have no problem with like a kind of an imbalanced situation that benefits the biggest consumer. So I guess that's why I'm a little more neutral on it. Yeah, but it has to be based on that.
Yeah. Yeah. The issue is that they don't do that. They only give a shit now because it's like, oh, well, now it seems so inherently like self-advantageous, like where it's just like, all right, well, we're still making money on these games, and we're selling them at like different prices based on subscription models because we're not sure if they want it or not. You could argue that they might even look at your buying habits, and they might be like, okay, this guy only plays action RPGs and first person shooters or whatever. Let's give him a deal like 50% off on Civ. And then meanwhile, somebody else who does play Civilization doesn't get that deal because they know that they're, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
right.
I don't like the door that it opens up to that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. And because ultimately, when the PSX comes out, they're not going to do that. They're not going to be like, oh, are you our best customer? Like, they're going to be, no, they know they're going to sell a ton of them. So they're just going to have them. It's just going to be just as haphazard as it was last time. And so like, they don't really have that they don't have that mindset in the first place, and they're not attributing it to their consoles. They're definitely not going to be attributing it to their games. And it just kind of feels like a door that's best left shut, in my opinion. I don't know.
There is definitely, I don't think they would do this. Transparency would be amazing. Because imagine an evil version of this where Sony looks at Colin Moriarty's account and they're like, Colin Moriarty buys new games. He buys them at full price. Sometimes he buys new games and doesn't play them. Why would we ever give him a deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Right. You know,
sure, absolutely.
So yeah, that's the area where I don't think they're doing that right now. But it's, as Chris was saying, you're opening a door that is kind of gross. Because what was it in this article? It mentioned like Ticketmaster and stuff like that. Imagine if the more a game sold, the higher price it went because the demand is higher. I guess it doesn't make sense because there's not a limited amount of copies they can sell of Ghost of Yotei anymore because it's digital, but dynamic pricing, it's gross.
Yeah, I think you guys make compelling arguments. Yeah, it could easily be bastardized and be like the evil version of it too. And you're right. The hardware argument I make in terms of access to things is just, they're going to sell them regardless, and that's true. But you would think you would want to make sure the people who are like your mega fans and are going to just buy everything, you want to make sure they have them. Like, it just benefits you.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
You know, like, as opposed to just some casual person that didn't own a PS5 or a PS4, and it's cool to get them in on PS6. That's awesome. But like, they're not as important to you, actually. Like, nowhere near as important to you. So I do wonder like what they're going to do this time around, because the PS5 was a bit of a shit show for a lot of people, and Sony did a great job of trying to get them out there. But yeah, interesting conversation we've had about this dynamic pricing situation, and I do wonder where this will all go, and how it can be very focused. You make a very compelling point, Dustin, of like, I'm the person you want to take advantage of. I don't even care. I'm asking you to do it. So
take advantage of me.
Yeah.
The Diddler. Thank you for writing in. All right. This is an interesting one. Dan Houser was on Lex Fridman. I'm a huge fan of Lex Fridman, so I saw that this happened. I'm so far behind, though, I won't get to this anytime soon. And they talk about a bunch of things. Lex Fridman, of course, is like an academic and intellectual, public intellectual, does a popular podcast. It's kind of like Rogan, but like with very long form conversations, but much more serious than that, and much more high level, I think. And he's not a huge gamer, as I understand, but he does love very specific games, and he loves like Red Dead and Oblivion and shit like that, and Skyrim. So anyway, I think he was able to use his considerable heft to get Dan Houser on, and Dan Houser, of course, is a major player behind the old Rockstar and was the creative force behind Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead and a bunch of other things. And he was recently interviewed by my friend Ryan McCaffrey as well. But this is a much deeper conversation. And the reason that it's important to our podcast is that he talked about, of all games, Agent, which was the PlayStation 3 Rockstar exclusive game that was announced in 2009 and ultimately never came out. And Video Games Chronicle wrote about what he had to say about Agent, and I thought we would just add this to the Sacred Symbols record, because this game is along with like, what was that game, 8 Days and Getaway 3 and a few others, are like some of the most intriguing canceled PlayStation games, and I know people want to know more. So they write, quote, in an interview with Lex Fridman, Houser explained that he went through multiple iterations of Agent but could never land on one that fit the open world gameplay Rockstar was known for. He said, quote, we worked on a lot of multiple iterations of an open world spy game, and it never came together. It had about 5 different iterations. I don't think it works, I concluded, and I kept thinking about it sometimes. I sometimes lie in bed thinking about it, and I've concluded that what makes them really good as film stories maybe make them not work as video games. We need to think through how to do it in a different way as a video game. And he's talking specifically about spy games. I think this is specifically very interesting, by the way, because of the 007 game that IO is working on, and it's coming out next year, and they're going to obviously try to do this. Video Games Chronicle writes, quote, Rockstar officially announced Agent as a PlayStation 3 exclusive in 2009, saying it was set to be set in the 1970s in a Cold War setting, but Houser said that was only one of the versions he had tried, while others were set in the present day. Houser conceded, quote, I don't know what it would have been because we never got it enough to even do a proper story on it. We were doing the early work where you get the world up and running, and it never really found its feet in either of them, and I sort of think I know why. And he says, and this is what Video Games Chronicle kind of writes in synopsis, quote, Hauser continued that in his opinion, the geopolitical espionage and assassinations required for a secret agent game didn't really fit with an open world game because the commonly accepted idea of a secret agent movie has a tight, fast storyline that doesn't work where the player is given more freedom. This seems to be what 007 is going to do, right, by not making it open. And Hauser said to Fridman, quote, those films are very, very frenetic and they're beat to beat. You've got to go here and save the world. You've got to go there and stop that person being killed and then save the world. An open world game does not have moments like that where the story comes together. But for large portions, it's a lot looser and you're just hanging out and doing what you want. I want freedom. I want to go over here and do what I want. And I want to go over and do what you want. And that's why it works so well being a criminal, because you fundamentally don't have anyone telling you what to do. We do try and create external agency through these people kind of forcing you into story at times. But as a spy, that doesn't really work because you have to be an agent against the clock. So I think for me, I question if you can even make a good open world spy game. End quote. Dustin, more information than we've ever gotten about Agent. And it's probably about as much as we're ever going to get. I think the most interesting thing is, as I remember, and I went and looked this up and it was true, is that Sony had first said that Rockstar was working with them on something which ended up being Agent in 2007. The game itself wasn't announced until 2009. And it's so interesting to think about how loose and fast these companies are playing with this shit. Like, he's basically saying, like, we didn't have anything. Like, we didn't even really know what the story was. We were trying to figure out how to make it fun. And like, meanwhile, Sony's on stage at E3 2009 in the midst of E3, like the phenomenon that was E3 2009. And they're literally announcing it. That's the biggest thing that how many games have come out that are like that? A lot. Oh, it's so interesting, you know?
Ton, dude.
And I always think about BioShock on Vita. When Ken Levine had the BioShock and Vita and he held it up and he's like, we're making it. And it's like, that game never existed. It's just so interesting. So anyway, Dustin, take it away. What do you think?
Yeah, I listened to this interview actually when I was on the way to Cedar Point. So it's perfect. I had 3 hours. The interview is about 3 hours. I highly recommend people listening to it because there's a lot of really interesting insight to, Rockstar games in general, Red Dead 2 in particular, some really cool stuff about the story and stuff that was cut or just some extra details around it. So I highly recommend listening to it. I think I agree with this overall in that I think it would be hard to make an open world Rockstar game about a spy. I think you still could make an open world spy game. It might need to be more like Mafia, though, where the open world is just a setting for the things that happen. But in the interview, Dan Houser's talking a lot about how it was really important to them, starting with Grand Theft Auto 3, that when people played the game, it felt like a living world. And that when they left and came back, it's like the world existed. You know, it exists when you're not there because it feels so dynamic. And so while I think you could make an open world spy game, I don't think they could do it to what they want the open world to be, if that makes sense. But I'm curious. Yeah. And I saw people comparing this to the 007 game coming out next year. And it's like, but that's not an open world game. And in fact, I think it's very clearly mission based. And it's like, yeah, of course you can do an awesome mission based spy game, but to make an open world that's Rockstar quality in terms of what you can do in it and how you can choose to spend your time, I think he does have a point.
Where are you on this, Chris? Was it interesting for you to hear more about Agent and kind of get a bow put on that? Because I think a lot of people are curious about what happened in that game. And it is just so funny. There's so many PlayStation games from that era that just never materialized.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in agreement with him, to be honest. I do think it's just there are certain things, there are certain genres and certain characters and certain types of stories that just kind of fly in the face of the designs of certain genres of game. Like I do think, like, upon hearing it, I never thought about it, whether or not there could be a good spy open world game, but like hearing him talk about it was like, yeah, you probably kind of can't do that. At least not in the way that we think about spy movies. And so I thought it was interesting because I say this, like, people get mad at me whenever I say this, but I feel the same way about Superman. I really earnestly don't believe that there can be a good Superman game. Like, I just don't. There could be like competent ones, like 6 out of 10 on IGN or whatever. But like, you're never going to get like a fully great one because like the fantasy of Superman kind of, the whole point of Superman is that like you don't, like, nothing is in front of, there's no obstacles. And so like you just like, oh, you can fly, so like there goes level design, and like it defeats itself in some way. And so like hearing Dan Houser talk about how like, yeah, this is an entire genre that's just like not really possible within the framework of how we do open world. It's like, yeah, it's nice to hear that, because I feel like there's an argument that a lot of people have where like, no, if you just have the right amount of passion or if you love something enough, it'll work. It's like, no, you can't. I really don't. I really earnestly don't. I think that there are certain things that just don't work. But yeah, I listened to like half of the interview. I scrubbed to this part because I wanted to hear it, and then I think I restarted it. I'm only like halfway through it, but it is interesting. I think Dan Houser's like a really interesting guy, and so I do recommend listening to it.
There's a part where he talks about like writing either GTA or Grand Theft Auto. I think he was talking about Grand Theft Auto 4, that like he went months without writing any dialogue. Like he would just like think of an interesting idea for a character or a mission or something, and he would write a bunch of notes. And then so like he talks about procrastinating for weeks and weeks and weeks on actually writing the story. And eventually over a weekend, he would force himself. He would just have like stacks and stacks of notes and then write the story in a weekend, or like the beginning of the story. But
right,
really interesting creative process where he's like, I'm just going to absorb and think of as many small things at once, and then try to like, sift through that in order to create something cool. So it's a really, really good interview. Check it out.
Sucking Duck for Quack wrote in and said, howdy, gents.
Oh.
I'm sure you guys saw that last week. Lex Fridman posted an interview with Dan Houser. That's his second interview in under 2 months from a guy who has been a ghost for nearly 30 years in this industry. Any chance Colin can get him on Sacred Plus? You said yourself that you're glad Shu had a couple of interviews first so you could hear more. It could ask more of the in-depth nitty gritty questions. That could apply for Dan too. Would love to hear your thoughts about this. P.S. You guys are going on break soon, and you normally pre-record a bunch of shows, so we degenerates have content to listen to. What happens with Sacred streaming during this time? Just curious. Love the content. So Sacred streaming will do Sacred Symbols Plus episodes for that instead. And we'll figure out what those are when the time comes. We have a little bit of time to figure that out. There's no way Dan Houser is going to do Sacred Symbols Plus. I appreciate the support. I would, if I thought there was even an outside chance, like I would ask, but there's no chance. And so like, why even bother? But yeah, it would be fun. I think I would be able to ask him much more probing questions than Lex could ask him about video games. But I also think that someone who could also ask probing questions, and Ryan McCaffrey already had access to him recently. So I don't know. That'd be nice. I'm also not like Rockstar mega fan. I'm not entirely sure I'm the one that I would even, if he could have access to a couple more people that would ask the right questions, I'm not entirely sure I'm the best person for that.
Right.
If I'm being honest, I think I'd be able to give a great interview. I've played all the Grand Theft Auto games. I played both Red Dead games. I'm very immersed in a lot of the stuff he's done, but I don't think I'm the right guy. All right. Just a few more quick stories, and then we can get into what we're playing. Over on Game Informer, they have an interview that I thought was pretty interesting with Halleck Mendez, who is the general manager of Marvel Games. And he talks a little bit about what they're doing with, and I don't know if this was an email interview or like a voice interview or what, because it's pretty well written. And I guess it's in the print issue, because Game Informer is back, if people don't know. And so it'll be in issue 372 of Game Informer. Shouldn't have Game Informer, because they went away for a while. They should have restarted the numbering, I think. That would have been interesting to do. I mean, have your own little thing going on, but what do I know? So anyway, there's stuff in here about Arc System Works and the Marvel fighting games going on, Deadpool VR and Marvel Cosmic Invasion and a bunch of other things. But there is a little throwaway item here about Insomniac that I thought was interesting. And they write here, Game Informer writes, Marvel Games has a number of projects in the works right now with several different developer partners. What have been some guiding principles to those collaborations in particular as it relates to letting developers find some freedom to shape these familiar characters into new and interesting genres or variations? And so Mentes says, so glad you asked this. Our North Star is deceptively simple. Make great games that are authentic to Marvel, whether it's on console, PC, mobile, or VR. The challenge is more complex. Authenticity doesn't necessarily mean one-to-one fidelity to source or reference material, whether it's comics or animation or movies. It's much deeper in that we allow our collaborating teams to reimagine familiar yet original incarnations of our characters based on their own creative DNA. Whether it's Insomniac Games with Marvel's Spider-Man or Marvel's Wolverine, NetEase with Marvel Rivals, Motive Studio with the forthcoming Iron Man game, Arcane with Blade, and many more. We absolutely do not want to be derivative. Otherwise, what's the point of working with some of the best talent out there? In full transparency, our games can only achieve the necessary level of creativity when we as Marvel Games have 100% cultural alignment with our collaborators. Or in fact, we seek people who have the same passion and ambition as us, who dream the same dream as in, wouldn't this be cool if we made this character in this genre, in this style? So they're later asked after that about their relationship with Insomniac based on that. And they say, we also actively seek collaborators that want to take on the same mantle. As it's usually the case, once we complete a project together, they too become Marvel. Marvel's Wolverine with our dear friends at Insomniac Games is perhaps the epitome of this philosophy. We've been working together for more than a decade and developed such a shorthand across multiple Marvel Spider-Man games that when the time finally came to bring Logan back in spectacular and visceral fashion, it was obvious to everyone on our team that Insomniac was the perfect choice. It was our shared culture and values that brought us together, and we're so proud to continue collaborating for many years to come. Now, Chris, let's go to you first. I know this is not a huge surprise if you know the Insomniac leaks. And in fact, some people had said that it's funny that they're almost pretending that those leaks never happened in this interview. I bring that up for people that are unaware is because in those Insomniac leaks, it was known that there was going to be an X-Men trilogy of games that Insomniac would do and that the series would, and that they'd be working together through the 2030s. However, Chris, I do think it's interesting just in that we know some of the plan has changed. The Spider-Man multiplayer game was canceled. The Spider-Man 2 expansions were canceled. This Venom game, I don't know like what's going on, if it's ever going to come out. It obviously was real. Wolverine, much delayed, was already supposed to be out probably a couple of years ago. So with all of that said, they still seem pretty confident with Insomniac. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it makes sense. I mean, Spider-Man 1 and 2 were pretty fucking well received. They sold a shit ton. I don't see why they would lack confidence in Insomniac. I don't know. Like, again, just because we know, just because the plan has changed doesn't mean that the core fundamental of the plan isn't the same, which is to continue working with Insomniac for many years to come at this point. So, I mean, this doesn't necessarily change anything. I am just, my main curiosity, honestly, with Insomniac is this Venom game, because we know that they worked. I mean, spoilers for Spider-Man 2. I mean, I guess vaguely, but I think if you wanted to play Spider-Man 2, you would have played. If you're listening to this show and you wanted to play Spider-Man 2 and you haven't yet, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. But you play as Venom in that for a brief period. There's like a brief Venom vignette, and it feels very fleshed out. Like it feels like very distinctly. It's not like. You can tell when a game does this, when like it changes perspectives and you play as somebody else, that like this is clearly like an afterthought or like this feels really like really rudimentary. So basically any other time in the Spider-Man duology of games where you play as another character like Mary Jane or whatever, it's like, oh wow, this feels terrible. This is clearly not going to be its own game. But then you get to the Venom section in that game and you're like, oh, this is clearly like really well thought out, really fleshed out. The animations are fucking fantastic. It feels good to move around. It feels better to move around as Venom than it really should if this is just kind of this one-off vertical slice of nothing. And so at the very least, we know that game is real, you know? So that's really where my curiosity goes. Like, I don't know. I think at this point it's probably scrapped, I would imagine, because it makes more sense at this point to just focus on Spider-Man 3. But as far as the new light shed on their relationship with, or Marvel's relationship with Insomniac, I don't know if there's really much to glean out of this other than they're staying the course, even if like the minute details have shifted a little bit.
Dusty Boy, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I have too much to add. It's not surprising, as you mentioned, the Insomniac leak, and they'll get Wolverine out, and then I imagine Spider-Man 3 is next, and we would be looking at probably 2030 by that. 2030 doesn't sound like a real year
No,
when
it
you say
doesn't.
it out loud.
It doesn't.
I think it's the first time I've said 2030 in a while. It's gross. But I wonder, I would hope, I guess my spin is that I would like to see them break away from Marvel at that point where it's like, oh, come on, we've done 3 main Spider-Man games, 1 spin-off game, and we've done Wolverine. So I think I would feel different if I was super into comic book stuff and Marvel stuff, but especially now that we have a lot of other teams doing superhero games, like there's the Captain America game with Black Panther, the Amy Hennig game, and the Iron Man game and stuff like that.
Black Panther was canceled, right?
So which one?
One of those was canceled. Like there was like a World
I think Black
War
Panther
II
was canceled.
I think the World War II one is still happening.
Yeah, that's still happening. Iron Man's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
Black Panther is in that World War II one.
Yeah, probably.
So
maybe, but there was also a standalone Black Panther game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was, and that was
canceled.
canceled. That was EA was doing that, I think.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm good. I want to see Insomniac. They make such great games. And it's nice that they have been able to do some stuff on the side with like Ratchet and Clank, but I want to see their full power into a new IP.
Yeah, I'm generally with you. Obviously, we're going to get Ratchet, and I assume that will probably be a PS6 game. We've known about that for a long time, and it seems like they're just really slowly making it. And Ratchet's awesome, so that's great. But I agree with you, and I think we're all on the same page that this seems kind of like a waste of Insomniac at some point. Listen, I know the Spider-Man games have sold enormous numbers of copies. I get it. It's a complete huge moneymaker. It also is a major point of fusion for Sony between the film properties that they have the IP rights to, like Spider-Man, and what's going on with the games. And so that's great. I'm not even disputing that it's time well spent, even though it's licensed and they have to pay Marvel a shit ton of money to do this. So they have to, by virtue, sell many millions of copies, which they do. So it all works out. I'm not saying any of that's not true, but I feel like it's a diminishing return kind of thing at some point. Like, don't you want to do something else? I'm sure there's a large subsection of developers at Insomniac that love making Marvel games, and they're probably huge nerds for it. And they were hired to do this stuff, and it's great. But I don't know. We're never going to get something new out of them? Like, it's just never. It's funny that this is the same Sony that kind of let them walk away for a moment anyway from Ratchet to make Resistance. Now they were back to Ratchet very quickly in 2009, and they made Sunset Overdrive, and it's like you got to give them room to create something new. I wouldn't want that to come at the sake of Ratchet. If anything, Ratchet should be the survivor. And I know that that's crazy from a commercial point of view, but the Ratchet is like original Insomniac DNA. And I don't know. It just kind of bums me out that they're going to be like just tethered to these fucking properties forever. Like, and I guess it works. It's a very reliable thing, but doesn't it also feel like it's too long in the tooth? In a universe where a Black Panther game can even be canceled, like they don't think that that's worth it anymore. 10 years ago, that would have been a fucking slam dunk project. And we actually kind of saw this with Star Wars Outlaws, where people are like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of too late, right? Think about Battlefront 2. Would that really be the phenomenon it was now? All these years later when Star Wars is kind of fucked up. I'm not saying Marvel is in that situation. It's not, but it is long in the tooth. And I just think this is ultimately, this will be a very secure financial decision. That's great. That's business. I get it. But creatively, because the idea of Wolverine was to lead into the X-Men trilogy. So this is just the beginning. Anyway, Chris, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, do you think, like, you said 10 years ago, this would have been a smash, like an obvious hit, an obvious idea. I mean, knowing like modern development times, like maybe that's when it was pitched, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's very possible that this thing was pitched in a completely different fucking era. And only started to fall apart towards the end. It's getting a little bit. It's getting a little crazy. I'm sure these games will be great, by the way. Like I know Insomniac will do a great job with them. It's just like, and I say that as somebody who likes Marvel stuff. Like I'm not like against comic book stuff. Like I like most of it, to be honest. Even MCU stuff. Like I enjoy it. Like I don't love it. It's not like the most amazing shit in the world, but they're very watchable, enjoyable ways to spend time. And so like for me, I'm like, if I'm getting kind of sick of this, like I would imagine your average person isn't too thrilled, dude. I got an itch the other day to play like Marvel. What is it? Ultimate Alliance. Like I got this like weird like craving, and I realized I can't play it anywhere. Like it's just like,
yeah. Was that an Xbox 360,
like,
PS3? The first Marvel Ultimate Ultimate MUA.
It was also on PS2, I believe.
PS2, right?
But
and Wii,
but
probably.
Like,
yeah.
But there was like that was that weird era. But like I wanted to play it, and it was like there's just no way to do it. You have to own like an original copy on like original hardware. I was like, oh man, this is a bummer. But I was really itching to play it, and so like there's an appetite for sure that I'm sure still exists, but man, it just sucks because the schedule is delayed so far now that like you have to imagine, because what was the date that was originally given in the leaks? It was like 2035, I think, right?
Yeah, like 2035 I think was like was that the end of the last X-Men game or something? I don't yeah, so it's definitely not that.
They're definitely behind.
Right.
So
and that's the whole thing. It's like
2040 almost. Why
even get yourself, that's the whole thing is I wonder how binding all of it was. Some of it probably was fairly conclusive, but it's like, why even wrap yourselves up like this? I guess you just want the sure thing.
Yeah, security.
But it made the assumption that this was always going to be the right choice. And I don't think that that's true. Like but
you're right, but it might not always be the right choice, but there's a higher likelihood than not that it would be more of a right choice than an original thing, than something like a Sunset Overdrive or like a Fuse, which they have experience doing. And that's kind of the thing. It's like we are in an era now where like it's not like it used to be where like you could take a risk on something, you would spend very, very little money making something, and there was a pretty good chance that you were going to make most, if not all, of your money back. Now it's like everything is expensive. Everything is like this massive sink of money, and it pays now, especially when we were like years deep into thousands and thousands and thousands of layoffs in this industry. It's like, all right, well, what are we going to do? Do we want to risk it all on another Fuse?
Right.
Or do we want to keep the surefire thing that, like, it might not always be the it thing, but it's got a devoted following of people that are always going to be perpetually curious about anything that happens in that space. And I'm probably one of those people, to be honest. Like I'm curious about an X-Men game. I'm curious about Wolverine. I was always going to buy Wolverine, whether or not I was that interested in it or not, just because
Wolverine looks awesome. For sure.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, even before, like, when there were like doubts about it.
Yeah.
And I had my doubts about it too. I still have some, like, I wonder like how an Insomniac game will play without that open world structure, in the sense I know we have Ratchet and stuff, but like, I wonder how more Ratchet style design philosophy will play in a Marvel sandbox. Like it's interesting to think about, but I don't begrudge them, but I also think like it very clearly is. And I know this is going to sound, this terminology is almost never used with any positivity associated with it, but I think it'd be disingenuous to not call it in some way selling out. I
Sure.
mean, you are kind of like sacrificing some level of creativity and sacrificing some level of independence to make things that are surefire hits that like are entrenched in an existing massive IP that many people will always care about. And by the way, not saying I wouldn't have done it either. In this environment, if I'm like the head of a studio and I'm thinking about like I'm going to protect my team, okay, makes sense to me. But that is kind of what it is.
Yeah, sure. I will say this, to be fair, two things. Wolverine looks great, and I'm also the second thing so three things. Spider-Man. I'm excited about Spider-Man 3. I think Spider-Man 2 is underrated. People are pretty hard on that game. I think that game was pretty fucking awesome. Fun to play. A little weird, some weird story shit.
It's a great video game.
DEI and all that. And I'm like,
DEI.
DEI.
DEI, man.
Here they're changing it to the X people.
The X people.
Not the X-Men. The X individuals can't have men.
The X-fellers.
X-fellas.
So that was the other thing I was going to say was, and this is just serendipitous for me, is that as far as Marvel is concerned, the only two Marvel properties that I ever really liked as a little kid, even long before the Marvel, universe, was two of three really, because I like Iron Man as well as Spider-Man and X-Men. And so it is like that, granted, is kind of like, okay, if you're going to go down this road, those are the coolest things to cover. The least corny, the least annoying, the most adult, especially with the X-Men, in my opinion. So yeah, okay. I guess so. If that's what you want, we'll see how it all. And these games will sell a billion copies. So
yeah, and also, dude, shout out to that. I think it was Crystal Dynamics that did the Guardians of the Galaxy. That Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh yeah,
that was a great game.
Yeah. I bought it and played it for a little while, but I never got anywhere in it really.
I liked it way more than I thought I would. And that's like a surprisingly solid game. So it's like, it's not to say that things that are tied to this IP are inherently bad. Like they're probably going to be very, very good. A lot of my favorite video games ever are Marvel oriented. Like I love those original Spider-Man games. Marvel vs. Capcom, obviously. Tokon looks sick. Ultimate Alliance, I was just talking about. I have a real deep fondness for that game. So it's cool, but there is the realities of the world as it exists right now is that it's just like it's not super tenable to risk it, and it's not super responsible either, to be fair, to risk it all on some completely unproven thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I get it.
You don't necessarily want to risk Insomniac on that. I have no problem with some other studios being the kamikaze. Like,
sure. Yeah,
definitely not.
I'll put it this way: Insomniac working on Marvel stuff, it's fine by me. If I heard Media Molecules, working on a fucking Flintstones game or something, like, I'd be like, oh my god, oh man, what a dire world we would be living in.
Another excellent.
They should be doing a very weird thing, in my opinion.
I'm sure they are. All right, a couple more things. We're almost through the news. Thought I'd just shout this out. Sony has released the PlayStation Store download data for October 2025. So top downloads on the PSN digital stores. And not a huge surprise here in the US, Canada, and Europe both. Battlefield 6, best-selling game of the month across platforms. And then Ghost of Yotei is number 2 in both locations. That's basically a full month of ingestion for Ghost of Yotei. So not so bad. Sold more than NBA 2K26, which I'm pretty impressed with. The NBA season just tipped off. You don't kick off the NBA season, you tip it off. A week or two ago, I just watched a Knicks game, I think a day or two ago. And then EA Sports FC 26 at 3, Arc Raiders at 5, Dispatch at number 6. This is the superhero episodic game. And then Madden NFL 26 at number 7. Digimon Story Time Stranger comes in at 8, Little Nightmares at 9. And then some other notable ones. NASCAR 25 is at 11. Jurassic World Evolution 3 at 13. Borderlands 4 falls down to 14. The Outer Worlds 2 premieres at 15. Dying Light the Beast, 16. Ninja Gaiden 4 premieres at 17. College football down to 18, and NHL 26 rounds things out at 20. So anything interesting there for you, Dustin?
Well, Ghost of Yotei. Someone pointed out that Ghost of Yotei beat EA Sports FC 26. Did it come out in the same? Did that game come out?
I don't think so. I think NBA would be more impressive. Let me see. EA FC 26. September. Late September.
Oh, okay. Well, Ghost of Yotei doing pretty good. Battlefield, didn't they announce like an actual number? Was it 6?
6 million, I think.
Million?
After a week, perhaps. Battlefield 6 sales. This is why we need a young Jamie. Battlefield 6 2 days ago reaches 10 million copies sold.
Dang.
Damn.
Yeah. So Battlefield absolutely killing it. This is their year, dude. This is in the years we've been doing this show together, there's been a few different times where I'm like, Battlefield, if you can get it together, people aren't hyped about Call of Duty right now. You might not win, but you're going to take a major foothold, and they never were able to deliver with Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 20 48 or whatever it's called. And this year they've done it. They've done an incredible job, and people are still loving the game, though. Arc Raiders, which we'll talk about in a bit on what we've been playing, it seems like a lot of people, at least in my friend group, we still love Battle 6, but Arc Raiders has now dominated our game time, and there's a lot of hype around Arc Raiders. Shout out to Embark, the developers, of course, my beloved The Finals, killing it with Arc Raiders.
Dork Raiders.
Yeah,
it says here Battlefield 6 sold 7 million in 3 days. So all of that would have been ingested in October, right? Because this was on October 10. Yeah. So I'm just trying to do the math in my head. So it would probably be like 8 million for the month cumulative across platforms. You would assume probably 2.5 million for PS5, something like that. Puts Ghost of Yote numbers probably a little bit below that, because I think Ghost of Yote is probably at, I think Alinea has them at 2.5 or whatever. I'd probably, in my gut, agree with that number. Softer than Tsushima, but doing really well. I'll be interested to see its long tail and how it does. You know, will they drop the price for Black Friday and try to push more copies, and people getting it for Christmas, and so on and so forth. So I'm really rooting for Ghost of Yote, because I think it's people are asking for these first party games, and then they're nowhere to be found. And then when one comes out, everyone's like, this sucks and it's selling badly. And I'm like, well, it doesn't suck, and it'll sell as well as the market allows. So if you want to support it, support it. If you don't want to, don't. What can you do? Arc Raiders, yeah, number 5, very impressive. And again, this is download numbers. This is not by money, I don't believe. So
right,
nice numbers there. And that would make sense, because Dispatch would not be up here if it was about money. And then over on PS4, Chris, sorry, I didn't ask you. Anything here stand out to you?
Oh, I mean, not really, honestly. Like, I think I don't really have anything to say. Like, Borderlands 4 still kind of hanging in there. I think the biggest thing is like just Battlefield 6, like, doing really well. Like, this is the stars aligned. You know, they finally had like the right product at the right time, at a time where a primary competitor is kind of not really hitting it, and it paid off. Battlefield 6 is great. You know, it's some good stuff. So happy it worked out.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 seems a little soft, maybe.
Yeah, not surprising in my opinion. I mean, Ninja Gaiden is kind of a very, I don't know, like that matters a lot to us. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know how much your average person is going to see Ninja Gaiden and care, or even remember.
Yeah, the Outer Worlds.
They're going to see the 4 there. They're going to see the 4 there, and they're going to be like, "Oh shit, what?" There's
other
ones.
Well, yeah, what's interesting here is the Outer Worlds 2 had 3 days ingested on the chart, and was at number in 2019, 18, 17, 16, 15. Ninja Gaiden 4 would have been ingested for like 13 days and was at number 17. So you can kind of figure out interesting thing. Dying Light the Beast, it's its second month, still holding on. So there's some interesting stuff in here. But yeah, Little Nightmares 3 is a new release that did okay. Mm-hmm. And yes, Digimon, bigger than I thought. I mean, people still like Digimon. That's probably solid, across platforms, 1 million copies or more for them. So not so bad. PS4 games, Red Dead Redemption 2, number 1 game of the month. Arkham Knight, number 2, which is interesting.
Yeah, why?
I don't know.
Maybe it was on a deep sale?
Yeah, it could probably something of this nature. It's always the same stuff otherwise. Like The Forest is always one of the most played games, which I always find really interesting. Some stuff trickling into the bottom. Mafia Trilogy at 20. Middle Earth Shadow of War at 19. God of War Remastered. God of War 3, remastered at 17. So a few nice. And Hollow Knight obviously in there as well. Around number 10. PSVR 2 games. Max Mustard, number 1.
I've heard of this at some point. Someone's either told me about it or I can't remember. It looks really cute. It looks fun.
Yeah, it's a
3D platformer.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Max Mustard is a made-for-VR platformer with 40 unique levels, 4 ridiculous bosses, and 8 powerful upgrades. No boring bits. It's the perfect combination of first-person power-ups and classic third-person platforming. This is a VR platformer you'll find impossible to put down. So that's the number 1 best-selling game. Saints and Sinners, the Walking Dead game, number 2. Beat Saber, discontinued, number 3. There were a bunch of VR games announced, actually, on PlayStation Blog. I didn't put it into the news, but they did discuss, out on PSVR 2 this month, VR Racer, Hoverbike, Audio Trip, RoboQuest VR, Shadowgate VR. So they're still There must just be a small, I mean, there's a small, it's just a matter of how small is it, but there's a small dedicated group of people that are buying this shit, obviously. And I wonder, like, how many copies does Max Mustard have to sell to get to the number one PSVR 2 game? Is it 25,000? Is it 50,000? I don't know. I have no concept.
Yeah.
Initially, when you said RoboQuest, I thought RoboCop VR. Would you be into that?
Oh, you shoot someone's dick off in 2 seconds. Oh my God. And get your own dick shot off too, which would be horrible. Don't want that to happen. Free to play across PS5 and PS4 combined. Battlefield RedSec. What is that? Is that
It's
like
a
the free
battle royale?
Oh, and that's free.
Yeah.
And that's to like suck people into the Battlefield experience, I guess.
Right. Just like Warzone is free for Call of Duty.
Fortnite number 2. Wizard 101 was number 3. And interestingly, it didn't chart in Europe at all. Roblox number 4, Call of Duty Warzone number 5, Marvel Rivals falls to 6, Skate number 7, holding on. Delta Force number 8, Rocket League number 9, and Rainbow Six Siege, free access, number 10. Over in Europe, eFootball charts, Asphalt Legends charts, but otherwise it's pretty similar. Okay. Finally, GamesIndustry.biz writes in. They didn't write in us. Southern Gotham wrote into us about a story on GamesIndustry.biz. Says, hey, CDC, can we discuss how Dustin is literally destroying the planet by buying physical games? Every time Dustin buys a physical copy, the Amazon loses another acre. What do you have to say for yourself, Dustin? Also, Greenpeace said if Dustin stops buying physical games, they'll name a tree after him. I will go hang myself on a redwood before Dustin kills them all. And listen, I thought you were going to say you're going to go hang yourself on the tree that was named after Dustin. That would have been dark, but you would have to let it grow first.
That would have been more narratively satisfying.
Right. And more consistent. Consider going and editing that letter. Thank you, Southern Gotham, for writing in. GamesIndustry.biz writes, manufacture and shipping of physical games is 100 times more carbon intensive than digital, new study finds. They write, quote, a new study has found that buying physical copies of games is 100 times more carbon intensive than buying the digital version. The report, The Carbon Footprint of Gaming, has been produced by the French carbon accounting firm Greenly and examines the environmental impact of PC consoles, mobile, and handhelds, as well as the production of games in different formats. Greenly found that the manufacture and transportation of physical games has a significant impact on the environment, with the firms Theo, Niclau, Guillemette estimating that the manufacture and packaging of 1 million discs can emit 312 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. In comparison, downloading the same number of digital copies of a game worth 70 gigabytes emits 3 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. So that is literally 1/100th. Stephanie Safdie, who's one of the study's authors, wrote to GamesIndustry.biz and said this, quote, although cloud-based gaming can be detrimental as a result of its need for continuous access to energy-hungry data servers, we also cannot neglect the continued impact of manufacturing and packaging physical video games. Ultimately, downloading a digital copy imposes emissions linked to electricity use at home, as well as the energy use of the concerned data center, but it does not have the same impact as the emissions created by the industry in terms of landfill and excessive waste, which are primarily still accounted for by physical consoles and hard disk copies of games. As a whole, physical video games may still be less carbon intensive than their digital counterparts, but their ultimate impact should not be underestimated. Dustin, ratchet it up.
Yeah. I'm buying more physical games.
Yeah, buy more physical games.
If it takes a few years off the earth, I mean, great.
The only thing that will make that more attractive is they dump all of the pollution in the ocean.
Right. That's where I'm sending my physical collection when I die. I'm putting in my will. I need you to go out to sea, dump all the games in the ocean.
Right. Put each game in a plastic bag and then throw it into the ocean.
Coat it in oil also, just for good measure.
By the way, we're obviously kidding, so relax.
Right.
Go ahead.
I 100% believe that it is 100 times worse. But I still feel like if I was concerned about my individual impact on the environment, there are a million things that I think I could do that would offset that if I truly cared. And I think there are way bigger issues if we're thinking about like plastic and shipping and stuff. Like, I'm sure that, not to pick on you, Colin, but Colin buying bottled water, even if you're reusing the bottle, the weight, the plastic, the weight of shipping it, getting that water manufactured, shipping it to somewhere, Micah driving it home, and you then eventually recycling it, the recycling center driving the bottle away. I'm sure that's a lot worse And I'm just using that as an example of like, everyone buys drinks or different things. All your food comes wrapped in plastic that had to get shipped to you or whatever. It's like, it's certainly true, but I also certainly don't care. If that makes some sense.
Well, it's like, what do you want me? Like, it is one of those, like, what do you want me to do about it?
Right.
It's up to the people way above us to do things differently. And yeah, you're right. There are a million things that we do that are horrible for the environment. Chris, will you ratchet up your purchasing of physical games now that you know it can lead to the quicker demise of the earth?
No, I don't hate the environment enough to change the way I do things. or love it, really.
I just thought you wanted to embrace death, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's too inconvenient.
Yeah, that is true. It is inconvenient to die.
Yeah, I just for me, I like physical games. I like my collection, but like I don't need to add to it. For me, like the only reason I stopped doing it is because like I was moving so often, and I was like, I'm not gonna pack all these games every single time. Like this is such a most of my boxes were games. I could fit all my clothes in one big box, but like my games and shit, that was like 3 separate boxes. I'm like, I'm not doing this every single time. So I just stopped, and it's been like infinitely more convenient. And so that to me is like where that's the value that I think about when it comes to, digital games. I'm not thinking about it from an environmental perspective. I was like, I'm wasting less plastic. Nah, I don't want to carry this fucking shit.
The thing that demoralizes me about the whole environmental thing is like I actually consider myself an environmentalist in a lot of different ways, and I do care deeply about the environment, and I want things to be better. And I feel like locally, and by locally I mean in our own country, we're doing a great job. Like if everyone were as decent modern stewards as the United States were, we'd be in a much different place. There are obviously countries that are way better than us. Of course, I'm not saying that, but really, like you look at like all the CO2 emission shit. And it's like, yeah, shit's flatlined and we're doing a great job. And then it's like China just like through the roof, India through the fucking roof. And it's like, okay, like what? Like it doesn't matter really. Like it's.
Well, I know what you're saying spiritually. It does matter because it would be that much worse.
That's true. Yes.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it is one of those things where it just kind of feels like I remember, I think I was with you, Colin. We were walking around Santa Monica and we were like looking at like they used to have these trash cans. I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to have one side was for there was like so there would be a trash can and then there would be a lid with 2 holes in it.
Right.
And one side would be recycling and one side would be trash. And then you'd look inside and there was no divider.
Yeah, we were laughing about that, like how funny that was. I remember that.
It was just like it was complete placebo. And I think, to be fair, that's because I think California does, as far as I know, because it's not as enforced here as in other places. I feel like they actually like just go through the dumps and shit, and they actually like maybe like separate it from, like they do it on the other end. I think, as far as I know, because otherwise, like I've not been told to like recycle anything. There's no like designated recycling place where I'm at. So like it just kind of feels like they just must handle it.
Well, recycling is already separated like that anyway. So yeah, it could very well be that. Like recycling is often hand separated with metal and glass and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the point is though that like there's only so much that an individual really can do in the grand scheme, because a lot, like the overwhelming majority. That's why it always bothers me when like companies try to offshoot that shit onto consumers, as if consumers have any real control over how much damage they do to the environment, like compared to them. Like it's absurd. It's your responsibility.
Yeah,
like, way more than ours.
Yeah, I agree. We need better like business stewards, governmental stewards of all these kinds of things. The reason that I honestly do, I do mean this, is that I don't really worry too much about the ultimate climate, like fate of the earth. I just think technology will ultimately solve all this shit. I do believe that. Like, I do believe that like we'll be able to seed weather, control weather, suck carbon, scrub carbon out of the atmosphere and do all these kinds of things in the decades to come. And like, it's not ideal, but like we'll be able to do whatever we want. We'll have complete dominion on, like, I think within 100 years, we'll have pretty much complete dominion over all of it. So I don't worry about it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And on that note, that's all we have for the news. All right, my friends, let's get into what we're playing. I'll go first and get out of the way quick. I'm still playing the same 3 games Ghost of Yotei, Power Wash Simulator 2, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted. So Ghost of Yotei, I beat it. I'm just kind of going through the collectibles. You have to play your shamisen and get guided to all the different things that you've missed. So it's just a little bit time consuming, but I'm probably a few hours away from having the platinum, and I might even sit down tonight and do it. So there's that. And then Power Wash Simulator 2, I'm probably 30 hours or so into it now, maybe 2/3 of the way through the game. I love it. It's fun. It's just Power Wash Simulator. There's really not much more to say about it than that. Chris Merchant wrote in and said, hello guys, Colin, as a fellow power wash entrepreneur, I was just wondering what your favorite washer is. Do you always use soap? What is your favorite attachment? The biggest question, how do you wash? Do you concentrate on one section at a time, or do you just let your mind wander to different parts? Personally, I like to do corners and recesses first, then fill in the gaps. Keep feeding that family and don't get too wet. Thank you. I'm doing my level best to just take whatever jobs come my way. And you guys get it, like I'm not there to ask any questions. I'm not there to know too much about what the fuck, why is this religious temple covered in shit? I'm not here. Your money's green, right? And I have the equipment to take care of this, and so I do it. The what I'm using right now is the Prime Vista 3000. Thank you for asking. And it's a wonderful power washer. And as far as soap, so they've simplified the soap gameplay in Power Wash Simulator 2. In the original Power Wash Simulator, you had different soaps and oils for different, like you had like one for plastics, one for metals, and that was annoying as fuck. And so with this was you just have soap. And when there's some stingy dirt and grime, you just hit it with the soap and then you hit it. So yeah, you have to use the soap, but I don't always use soap. No, you don't need to get crazy with it. I just use soap when it's necessary. And then favorite attachment, I prefer not to use any attachments. If I can possibly help it, and just be up as close to the surface as I possibly can be to get the dirt. But if you're far away, if it's high up, you use the 1x, 2x one. So I'm fine with that. I really just like using it straight up, no attachment. And then what else did you ask here? Oh, and so I like to just do section by section. I don't like, I like to like clear out a little section, make that all clean, then go to the next section. If it's rooms, you do one room in its entirety and so on, and then you go back and clean things up. So I'm doing the best I can. The business is thriving. And there's some sort of story, but I'm not following it. As far as Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, I beat it, and I'm doing the New Game Plus stuff now, which is just a much harder version of the same game. And I'm really enjoying that. Jacob wrote in and said, Colin, as seemingly one of the few other Plants vs. Zombies Replanted enjoyers, I wanted to get your opinion on the hatred unleashed on this game before and after its release. Now that the AI and dynamic music problems have been addressed, it seems people are focusing their outrage on the fact that some of the original dev team were willing to come work on the remaster, and EA and PopCap elected not to bring them on board. My question is whether developers or publishers have an obligation to hire original staff members when developing a remaster. Personally, while I think it would have been a nice gesture, if that individual is no longer working at the studio, it is not an obligation for them to be involved. It seems the PvZ community is dogpiling on this game just when the franchise is starting to show signs of life again. I of course they don't have a duty to do that. And it's preposterous to assume that a game that you worked on almost 20 years ago, because they're remaking it, you have some sort of right to come on and work on it again. It was a PopCap game. EA owns it. And, it doesn't make it like the most savory and right thing. No, but there does seem to be like something, people just have something out for this game. I don't get it. It's just, and I'm not saying it's not even a big thing because no one really gives a shit that it came out, but those that do care, there seems to be like a lot of griping about it. And again, I've played it extensively. I'm enjoying it. I don't see I don't see the problem. So yeah, maybe the well was poisoned a little bit. Who knows? All right. And John wrote in before I kick off and says, Colin, given everything that's going on with the New York City mayoral election and everything that is happening across the country when it comes to SNAP benefits and the debate around it, it seems like you've been awfully quiet. And I feel like the entire LSM community needs to know something. When are you going to play Dying Light the Beast? It looks so good. I feel like such a scrub having not beaten Dying Light 2. Like, I can't just jump into the good Dying Light again. I have to play the bad Dying Light first.
I think they fixed it.
Dying Light 2 wasn't bad. What'd you say?
I think they did extensive changes to Dying Light 2 since you played it.
Yeah, I think they did too. So I have to go back because I've lamented this before. I love Dying Light. Dying Light 1 is fucking awesome. I 100% endorse that game. You guys have played it, right? The original Dying Light.
I played a little bit of it. Like I I didn't get too far into it because like I just there's something about it. I liked it from what I played, but like it didn't hold my attention for that long.
Oh, dude, I loved it. I was like, wow, I had no idea Techland can make a game like that. You know, like no wonder they didn't. Yeah,
it's impressive for Techland for sure. Like especially considering like where they like the perception that studio had at the time. You know, it was definitely impressive. I think that game came out. When was Dying Light? When was the original Dying Light?
2015.
2015? Yeah, that might have been around the time where I was like, zombies weren't overdone, but they were recent. You know, it was like recently kind of an overdone thing, and I wasn't looking to necessarily dive back into that place. It's been a while, though, and I did like what I played of Dead Island 2.
Yeah, Dead Island, I that's the funny thing is like I only played Dead Island 1 and I didn't play it all the way through and I was just like, damn, I don't really. It was very like lumbering and like there was so many things to open and grab and it was just like constantly collecting shit and I was like, what is like? Let me play the game.
Yeah,
Dead Island I always remember Dying Light as just it's like, damn, this game has no business being this good. Like it's so I highly recommend it. And when Dying Light 2 finally came out, because to Techland's credit, like they really supported Dying Light 1 for a long time, and that game is a huge hit. It might have sold, I don't want to throw a crazy number out there. It might be something like 20 million copies or something. So like the first Dying Light's a massive hit. Let's see. Yeah, by April 2022, the game had sold 20 million units. So not a small hit. That's a big hit, like a Call of Duty level hit. Once, of course, not every year. And then Dying Light 2 finally came out and I just wasn't into it. Yeah. I was like, I don't know. Just I was expecting so much of it. And so people are saying this Beast game is supposed to be like the original one. And I'm not even really sure what that means.
I know it's got the same, it's Kyle Crane, I think. Again.
Oh, Kyle Crane, yeah.
Which is crazy that I remember that. That is his name. But yeah, every time I see gameplay of it, I think this looks cool and I think I would like it. But like, I don't know. Like I had the same kind of experience with Dying Light 2 where I started and I was like, nothing about it was bad, but I just was not. I don't know if maybe you had the same feeling, Colin, but I just wasn't into it. Like, I don't know. I was just kind of, my eyes were glazed as I was like playing it. Like, I just didn't feel, I don't know.
Times are different.
Yeah. 2015. It's probably better now though.
2015 was interesting because that was interesting for open world games because it was like Dying Light, The Witcher 3, Batman Arkham Knight. One just came to mind. Oh, Mad Max is in there. That doesn't really count. I mean, that is an open world, but no one really played it. And a few others. And so, yeah, there was like there's like a feeling of, Fallout 4. There's a feeling of maybe it's just 10 years later and things are just expectations are different now. And it's not so exciting anymore. Anyway. All right, Chris, let's go over to you. Mega Maddie wrote in and said, hey, Sacred Souls. Chris, you succulent son of Colin, I saw that you decided to give Dispatch a go, which is interesting because I know these kinds of games don't always click with you. I myself am waiting until all the episodes are out to play, but how are you liking it so far? It just recently was announced that the game had sold 1 million copies already. Pretty good for this kind of game and for ad hoc. Thanks, I'll go dispatch all over Blonde Blazer's chest and listen. Jesus. I mean, do you have to...
Yeah, you can relax, man.
Yeah.
Relax a little bit. Yeah. I don't know why I think I saw clips of it and I was like, this is really well animated. Like whatever this is, like it's a Telltale kind of game for just to set things up. It's very much like you're watching kind of a show and you choose dialogue options. There's like some quick time events and there's like a mini game component to it. There's two primary game components to it. And by primary game components, I mean like gameplay oriented components that aren't QuickTime or dialogue choices. There's this like kind of like hacking mini game that's kind of fun. It's like very simple, but it's engaging and it's got a vibe to it. And then there's the actual like dispatch gameplay, which is like it's like resource management. It's like, you know, you've got a team of heroes. They have different stats, and you know, calls will come in that require, you know, like there's like a burglary, so this requires strength and speed to apprehend the burglar or to catch up with him. And so you pick the heroes that have the stats that are allocated to that best. And there's like kind of like a random chance kind of mini game that happens. And it really is just about, the whole game is just that. And it's held together by it's separated by a morning shift and an afternoon shift, and then in between, before and after, are like story heavy segments that sometimes have quick time events, oftentimes have dialogue choices, and things like that. I think the thing that got me to play it was just like I kept seeing bits of it that looked almost too good to be a Telltale game. Like, I'm used to Telltale games and Telltale animation. You know what I mean? Like that stilted, like janky, like completely fucked look that like it works because those games are written so well. And I was like looking at it, I was like, this is kind of a huge step up. Because I remember I really did enjoy the first season of The Walking Dead. I earnestly really thought that was fantastic. Like when I first played it, I'm not really into these types of games, but and I've gotten into them since. Like I enjoyed Detroit Become Human as well. So like it's not that I don't like these kinds of games. It's just that more often than not, they just kind of miss for me. And this one kept popping up on my timeline, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a go. I'm kind of in the mood for something like this. I haven't played a game like this in a long time. I'll give it a go. And they're doing kind of like an episodic release structure. So every week, I think 2 episodes drop. So it's not quite as grueling as like the 1 episode, because by the time I'm done, I feel kind of satiated, and there is like a nice little break there. But I think it's on episode 5 and 6 now, I think there's either 2 more episodes or 2 more weeks. So batches of 2. I'm not super sure exactly. I think it said it in the menu, but I didn't read it too carefully. And so I'm pretty deep into the season, or whatever you would want to call it. And I like it. I think it's pretty good. I think the animation quality is like really high. I think some of the voice cast really nails it. It's really weird though, because I know some of the people in there. Like Moist Critical's in it, and I can't. It's like I know you. Like I cannot see you as this person necessarily. And there's other people like that too. But I think Aaron Paul, so like Jesse from Breaking Bad, is the main guy. And I think he does a really great job. And it's weird, like a game like this is really dependent on writing, and it is written. The writing is definitely hit or miss. I've definitely heard some lines of dialogue where it's just like I cringe a little bit, or like, oh, that's not written too well. Or there's moments in particular where the game tries to really convince you that it's like a game for adults. So there's like strings where there's just lots of profanity, and it like I don't really care about that, but it does feel like it's trying to be taken more in like it's trying to be viewed as more adult than it is in some ways, because the more you use profanity, the more like juvenile things kind of tend to feel. So it's kind of weird. Like I get it, but like it kind of misses for me sometimes. A lot of the characters are kind of similar in the sense that like you're working with a team of supervillains to try to rehabilitate him. So like they're all kind of written like Ellie in the first Last of Us game, you know, where it's just kind of like, fuck you. Like they're written like teenagers, which is weird because they're clearly not. They're like, a lot of them are like adults, but like it's this weird thing where it's like this doesn't work because they're not teenagers. These are adults. They should know better. But on the other hand, they are supervillains. So it makes some level of like, I don't like that it makes sense that they're just complete dicks. It's this weird kind of, I'm kind of bouncing around how I feel about that. But the main crux of it, like the main characters that you're meant to focus on, and the writing between them and the interactions between them and the relationships between them are compelling to me. Like I find myself at the end of every episode with like a bunch of really small complaints about like, oh, that moment was kind of forced, or this moment was like kind of not well written. But at the end of it, I'm always like looking forward to the next episode, which I think says something about it. It's far from flawless. It's arguably parts of it are barely a game, but it is cool. I think if you're a Telltale kind of guy, if you like these types of things, I think I don't think you'd be disappointed necessarily in checking it out, because there is like a compelling thing here. It is somewhat predictable. It is built off of the bones of, I would say, like Invincible. If you've seen Invincible, it is kind of that vibe. But it's good. I think the cast
it looks like Invincible.
It looks great.
me.
Like when you're playing it, you're kind of like, damn, they really did a really great job animating these things. There's some combat scenes that look great. And it's weird. Like a lot of games try to do this like 3D animation type stuff. I don't know if you, Dustin, are you familiar with like Ruby? You know, like how like they tried to do like
Oh yeah.
Oh, Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, like a lot of companies try to do this thing where there's like it's a 3D game, but it's trying to look 2D, and it doesn't really work that well. But this is like the best I've seen it work, where like it does feel like I'm watching an animated cartoon, or like it like almost more of like an anime than it feels like I'm watching people fuck around in Gary's Mod or something. You know, like it feels more convincing and polished. So it's good. I'm liking it so far. I can't speak to it really because it's not over. So it very well could like completely drop the ball in the last bit. But the parts of it that should hit for a game like this to work well, I think are hitting well enough to the point where like, yeah, I don't regret my time with Dispatch, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends, even though I think I have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. But that kind of remains to be seen. I'll follow up obviously next time, which I think may very well be the last. It might be the finale. So I'll have more to say about it next week, but cool. But I like it. It's pretty good.
And then Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
You guys are both playing this. So yeah, Chris, what do you think of this?
Yeah, so I did play a little bit of the alpha, and I did play a little bit of the server slam while I was in New York. I played it on my laptop, which is not capable of running it all that well, so I didn't have much to say about it when I tried it out. But I've put a couple hours in. I've played with some people. I've played some solo rounds with some proximity voice on, and it's good. It feels good to play. It feels good to move around. It's like a compelling space. I like the look of everything. Like it looks very... There's something to the look of it. I don't even know if maybe Dustin will be able to put it better, but like it's really rich in detail without being too busy. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's got like a really good balance of like high detail, some really, really good looking environments, but like readability is still very high. Like, you know where your enemies are, and that sort of thing. I enjoy it. I like moving through the play space and like fighting AI and working together with players. Like some of the most fun I've had in this game is actually in solo, where I'm just like, I'm on mic and I'm like, hey, friendly. And where you just kind of form this makeshift squad out of a bunch of solo people, and you're just kind of working together and trying to extract with a bunch of stuff. And I found that really fun. The PvP is kind of where it loses me, and I kind of figured this would happen. But like I've already had like 2 experiences where like I've got some good shit I'm going to extract, and then somebody pops out from behind a corner and kills me immediately. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, you saw me. You saw me from around the corner, because it's a third person game. So I'm realizing as I'm playing it, like I enjoy the experience of playing this game. I enjoy the experience of like running through and looting a bunch of stuff. But there's a wall built into this game preventing me from taking it too seriously and preventing me from caring about the stuff that I'm extracting with, because I know that at any point it can be taken from me in a way that is completely out of my control. And so so I'm playing it kind of casually in some way. Like I'm almost just kind of going in with nothing, and just like, if I find cool shit, cool, but I assume it's gone. Like I just like the second I find something cool, I'm like, I assume it's gone. If I can't put it in, like there's a pocket in your inventory that is a safe pocket. So like if you have something,
the prison wallet.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's what we call it when we play.
The prison wallet is crazy. but yeah, so like that does alleviate it a little bit. And there's certain elements to it that I think are a little bit overcomplicated for its own good. Like there's like so there's different, I don't even know what you would call it. There's a term for it in the game, but there's like a combat version, there's a tactical version, and then there's a looting version. And this basically basically sets up like what your backpack looks like and that kind of thing, and what you're prepared to use. there are shield mechanics in this game. So you pick up a light shield and a medium shield, and presumably a heavy shield. I haven't seen a heavy shield, but if you don't have the right backpack, you can't use a medium shield, which to me feels like needlessly complicated considering the type of game it is. And there's like a whole like build out your base mechanic where you got to like build a workbench, and there's a chicken battle pass thing that like you after every round, like he comes back with a bunch of materials and you can train him, and those aspects I'm significantly less interested in. I don't give a shit about crafting. I do it because you kind of have to in this game sometimes when you're out of certain things, but like I'm not really into that aspect of it. It's weird. I enjoy it, and I'm going to keep playing it. I'm gonna get some people together to keep playing it. I do enjoy it, but the more I play it, truthfully, the more excited I get about getting back to Marathon whenever that happens, because that was like when I was really like when I cared about the shit that I was getting. Because I just knew that it wasn't going to be some like, there wasn't going to be some third person like corner peeking going on to fuck me over in some way. Like you would still get fucked over. It's an extraction shooter. It's built into it, but it would at least feel more competitive and a little bit more fair. And I'm just more of a first person shooter guy. So like, I think that it's getting me excited to get back into Marathon. But Arc Raiders is very good. And I would recommend it as like, if you're curious about extraction shooters, I think this is a great one to get into, because like there are complicated areas about it that are needlessly overwrought, but the core game is like very simple and it is fun, and the proximity chat is very fun. Like prox chat in this game is awesome, and I'm a big fan of it. It should be in all of these games. I can't believe Marathon was even considering not doing it. It's such a core part of the experience. So yeah, I'm sure Dustin has a lot more to say about it too, but so I'll kick it over to him and we can maybe go back and forth, but it's good.
Yeah.
I do recommend it, especially for $40. I think it's kind of a steal, you know?
Yeah. So I'm looking at my Steam. I have 13 hours in Arc Raiders, and I like it a lot. I don't think I like it as much as a lot of people, but as I'm playing more, I am liking it more. I think what I've realized, and Chris, you were touching on this, is that this is a game, being that it's an extraction shooter, that gives and takes regularly, where, and as annoying as this sounds, Arc Raiders is the most fun when you're winning, and it's not fun when you're losing.
Yeah. That's
deeply.
That's extraction games.
It's not like, dude, Battlefield, there's games where I've lost really bad. Or the team loses really bad, and you still had a great time playing. There are points in this game where you do either, like, there's a super powerful arc. That's the name of the robots or the drones or whatever they're called, arcs, where you just are in a bad spot and you're like, I had some good stuff. Yeah. This fucking sucks. And I got to tell you guys, Arc Raiders is bringing back Toxic Dustin a little bit, and it kind of feels good. Feels good. I was playing with Brandon, and these guys came up, and we try to be friendly. Like we're like calling out. We're like, hey, we're just doing our thing. Be cool. Like we're friendly. Sometimes people don't listen to that, and they started shooting me. I got downed, and right as I got downed, an arc, the big, I think Chris, you'll know that. I think it's either the Rocketeer or the Bombardier or something.
Yeah.
This giant arc drone that shoots rockets came rolling up and just fucking obliterated these two dudes. So I'm on the comm. I'm like, yeah, how does that feel, you fucking idiot? How did it feel? How's it feel? Now I'm getting revived. And then we executed these guys in the most, while taunting them.
Yeah,
because they didn't have to attack me.
Right.
But they
fun,
did.
Dude. It's fun.
And that's the most fun part of this game. And what I'm finding so surprising is that there are a lot of very friendly people in this game. You can technically play this game without a microphone, but you are missing out on a huge part of the experience. In particular, my favorite part of the experience is that you'll run into people, have a little friendly conversation. You know, maybe some people are even like, hey, are you looking for this? I've got some. Or do you have this? And you have a little trade. There are crazy people where they'll act nice at first and then betray you, but that's
That's good shit.
That is an element where sometimes I should revise what I said earlier. Sometimes you can lose and it is fun if there's a good social element to it. And often there is. I was playing with Ben last night and this guy Ben was like, oh, I see a guy. And then the other guy opened the door, immediately started shooting. So we were like, oh, hey, calm down. Hey. And the guy was like, oh, sorry. We're good. And Ben's like, my fucking kneecaps aren't good, bro. You just took out half my health. Luckily, they were cool. But dude, in the clips of this game, some of the stuff that people are saying in this game is so funny. There was a guy, it's like, hey, I'm just over here. I'm picking olives. Don't bother me. And he's like, oh, no worries. Someone asked me to come fix a TV over here. And just watch out because there's a pedophile back there that offered me a prickly pear and then just walks away. So there's people that are role playing and being weird in this game in a very good way. So it is a little confusing, little complicated. I think it's because I don't have a lot of experience with extraction shooters outside of I played a little bit of the Call of Duty one and I played a little bit of Delta Force, but I've never played Tarkov or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to understand the flow. And honestly, a lot of these games, there's missions and stuff that you can do. Some of them are there. It's like, go here, do this, collect this thing. They're not terribly exciting, but I'm mostly just in for the craziness of you never know what's going to happen in this game. It has a lot of emergent gameplay, whether it's with other players that could be cool, could not be cool, or the arcs themselves. That's the other thing. This game, the AI are not necessarily easy. There are like basic drones that roll around, or there's like these like little robot balls that roll around.
Fireballs, I think they're called.
Yeah, they'll try to kill you and they explode. But there are some stuff that it's like when you see them, if they sneak up on you, you're like, oh shit, run away. It feels like cinematic moments where you're trying to get out. You called the elevator. There's a million drones on you. You're downed. You can still escape, though, if you're able to sneak in at the last second. And it gives and takes. Sometimes you have the amazing cinematic moment that you just barely get out and everyone's cheering and you're happy.
Dude, I had one of those where I was doing solo and then like I was like hiding behind a thing and there were like a lot of AI or whatever around this thing and there was a team extracting. And I was like, fuck, I can't. And then the thing started closing because there's like basically like a kind of like this weird building that kind of like you have to go in and then you extract and then the door comes up from the bottom. And it was like just closing and I dove in and I made it in and I was like, that was fucking mega satisfying. It's a really, everything you're saying is true. It's fun. The people on comms are great. I had some guy shoot me and he was like, I had to do this, right? It's a hard world out here. I'm so sorry.
There's people like, I got kids. I'm just trying to feed my kids. Let me out of here, please. Please.
It's fun, dude. It's fun stuff. Yeah. I have to play it casually for my own sanity. Also, I don't know if you felt this, Dustin. Like, I don't know. You have more hours in the game than I do. Because I think I'm only like 5 hours. And so I haven't. There's a couple maps I haven't unlocked, for instance. Yeah. But I haven't found anything particularly exciting loot wise. You know what I mean? Like I'm extracting with a bunch of stuff that like it tells me it's important or like it's like this is a crafting material that I can use for something. But like I haven't found like, I don't know, a gun that does a crazy thing. You know what I mean? Or like
right.
That's kind of the thing for me where I'm like, I don't know if maybe that's just like later on in the game or whatever, but that's kind of the only thing that I feel is kind of missing right now is like, there's not really, I haven't died and been like, oh, I lost something that I really regret losing. You know what I mean?
I have found like there's a few guns. They're not like crazy, but I've never seen them before and I'm not able to make them or buy them. Like I have a sniper rifle with a scope that I found on someone's body that killed me or was trying to kill me. And then I like threw a grenade and took him out. And of course I was taunting them as I killed them. But I extracted with this sniper rifle. And now I'm too scared to use it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I'm not taking this in. But when I mean, at some point, I just got to be like, okay, well, I'm taking this in. If I lose it, whatever. But
That is part of the experience, man. Like I got that a lot in Marathon where I was like, I found a shotgun that I never found before and it was like a crazy cool fucking thing. And I was like, I am never using this. I'm not using this until I find another one, basically. Right. And that's kind of built into the gameplay, I guess. But yeah, I'm still waiting to find like, because I've just found the same weapons over and over again. I'm like, damn, I really want like I would love a sniper rifle. Dude, a sniper rifle in a game like this is... Whew.
Yeah, I got to go in and like diabolical level, like just snipe people and piss people off greatly. So, dude, it is funny who you play this game with and you read how they play it says a lot about them. I played duos with Lockmort, and Lockmort was actively encouraging me to kill people. And he's like, oh, well, we could tell these guys that we're friendly and then just kill them. I'm like, Lock, he's the crazy one. So beware. Is it any surprise though? Locke wants to actively murder innocent people.
Yeah, we gotta. That would be a fun stream idea.
Oh yeah,
we should definitely.
It would be fun to. I know it's not Colin's kind of game. He doesn't want to play multiplayer, but I'd be curious for the Colin's experience in the social environment, like talking to these people. We get stream snipe, maybe.
Yeah,
is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know.
All right. Let's cut back into the show now. We're back to the end of the show. 6 questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, and ideas from the audience. Over on Patreon, patreon.com/laststandmedia. We put up the thread for this show and all the other shows every week. You submit your inquiries to those threads in the newsfeed on Patreon. We go through them. You've heard some throughout the show. Here are 6 more. We begin with Eugene Aka. Says, good day, SS crew. Looking back about 10 to 15 years ago, are games about where you expected them to be now, or maybe behind in some ways and more advanced than others? What types of advancements would you like to see in the next 10 years into the next generation? Thank you all for the subpar show. I'll slip my head and listen. Thank you for writing in. It's funny. I was thinking the biggest thing that I want added to games over the next 10 years is dynamic pricing. And so I hope that that's what they add into it. This is a really interesting question, Eugene. Dustin, let's go to you first. Are games where you expected them to be? Like looking back through your previous iterations self?
I think so. Because I'm thinking, I remember when like before MAG came out and it's like, whoa, this multiplayer game has over 100 players in it. Stuff like that. It's like
256.
Oh, it's 256. Okay, so I guess that's still pretty monumental because I think now,
right?
Like, we've got multiplayer games now. Like I don't want to say it's standard, but many games that do 100 plus players for Battle Royale. Yeah. And it is cool to see that kind of innovation. And there's obviously a technological aspect of it, but we were just talking about a game like Arc Raiders and just telling someone about a game like that from a lot, like being like, oh yeah, there's a game where you have to collect materials and there's other players on the map and you're going to have to talk and like negotiate and there'll be standoffs and stuff. It's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So I think in that way, it's like, yeah, there's been some cool innovations. In other ways, I think some things are still set in the same way. Maybe this is a little on the nose, but I still can't stand, and I know that developers have argued there's a gameplay reason, but it's like, why am I going through this tight space between 2 rocks again and again and again, or something like that? That's like, I know the game isn't even necessarily loading, but there's some way where I'm like, there's got to be a different way to do certain things. From a tech perspective, the 4K era is mostly here. We're not running games natively in 4K. And I guess one area we have seen a lot of progress in a way that I'm super happy about is that people just care about frame rates so much more than they used to. Where we're getting console games that are beyond 60 FPS. Of course, that's been the case on PC for years, but you can run Battlefield 6 at, I think it runs at like 80 or 90 FPS on PS5 Pro and the unlocked frame rate with TVs that support 120 FPS. And so I absolutely love that. And in a way too, I guess to cover all of our different bases, like we have games like Baldur's Gate 3, which, you know, whether or not you're into the gameplay or not of that game, is probably one of the most immersive make your own story adventure games that has been created yet, where it feels like it's limitless in what direction you want to take the story. Obviously it is limited. As far as what I want to see in the future, that's a much harder question to me. It's obvious that we're going to start getting a lot more AI stuff in games. And I think we need to be partially more open to that. So to be 100% clear, I'm not talking about generative AI assets and stuff like that. That's going to happen. I think we should continue to resist that. But I've said this on Sacred before, that I'm open to the idea, and I don't want this for every game, of AI characters in games that can respond to you in theory, an infinite amount of different ways. I like the idea, the way that my compromise in my brain is like, you can have a writer who writes the character, writes their entire backstory, writes insane amounts of dialogue, and then an AI, you know, a large language model then take all of that in, and then when you're in an RPG, that character can react to exactly what you're doing or what you say back to it. Kind of interesting idea. I think it would be an interesting way to have that medium where it's like, this is still very much a character that is created by a human, and even maybe in the main story parts of the game has dialogue written by a person in the way that we've always done things, but could be more immersive at some point. I'm open to the idea of it. I think it will probably be extremely clunky for a while, but I think that AI is going to play a much bigger part in all, whether it's development or how we interact with games, or even just smarter enemies in games through AI. Could be pretty interesting.
Chris, anything you want to add about are games where you thought they might be, if you can look back through your previous self?
Certainly not. Certainly not. Like I definitely didn't think, you know, oh yeah, it's 2007 and you know, these games were getting there pretty good, but oh boy, you know what? I bet in 15 years games are going to launch with one mode only. You know, like that's certainly like there's an argument to be made. Like, look, there's a lot of cool things that have happened. I'm not gonna like pretend like that's not the case. There's a lot of fantastic games that just could not have existed before. But as far as like the multiplayer space goes, like I do think there is something to be said about, like, you know, in the 2000s or even in the early 2010s, something like, I don't know, a battle royale or like an extraction game, like that would have been a game mode in a far larger pie, you know, like even something like Halo Infinite releasing as a free to play game, but somehow not launching with the Prime playlist, which was like Team Slayer at the time. I remember specifically it launched without Team Slayer, and everybody was like, why the fuck would you not launch with this? And they're like, oh, we're trying to figure out how to get it in. And it's like, what? The Team Slayer? That's insane. And I think about that a lot, where it's just like, man, this, even Marathon or Arc Raiders, like, man, I'm paying $40 or whatever price for like one game mode, really. Like, that's kind of incomprehensible when you think about it from like the framework of, like, you know, the original Gears or Uncharted or any number of other games that we used to play back in the day. So in some ways, I think we've fallen far short of expectations. And in other ways, I think we've exceeded them. I think, you know, just the realities of hardware. I think, again, the 100-player lobbies is cool. I think, you know, proximity chat in a lot of these places are cool. Although proximity chat used to be here in the 2000s, and then it left arbitrarily for no reason. So, like, that's another thing where it's like, because I remember Halo 2 had proximity chat and it was awesome. So, like, I don't know. It's kind of a mixed bag. I feel like in more cases than not, though, like I am somewhat disappointed with the evolution that the industry has taken, in the sense that I think we get far fewer unique feeling experiences. I think we get a lot more games where they're really bloated. There's not a lot of fat trimmed from these things. And then also, like, a lot of games are starting to feel the same, largely because engine consolidation is starting to happen. You're starting to see fewer and fewer bespoke engines out in the wild. Now you're seeing, like, Witcher is going to be an Unreal, and Halo is going to be an Unreal, and all of these different things where you're not going to get Red Engine, you're not going to get the Blam engine, you're not going to get or I guess Marathon is still running on Tiger, which is the Destiny 2 engine. So there's that, but I mean, you're seeing a larger consolidation of these things, which is ultimately going to make a lot of things look and feel a lot more similar than they ever have. You're not going to have these weird, like, quirks that are unique to the Hitman engine, that are unique to the Havoc physics engine, that are unique to whatever Naughty Dog's using, and even Guerrilla with oh my god, what is the, I'm blanking on the name of the Guerrilla engine. What is it?
Decima.
Death Stranding. Decima. Decima's got its own quirks. And that's nice and that's cool, but like, what happens when Decima is deemed too unruly or whatever? Like, are we gonna see that go to Unreal eventually? I don't know, man. It's just there. I have concerns and some disappointments, but generally speaking, I think things are in a decent place. You're still getting really, really great games. I think in the last couple years, in particular, like since 2022 and onward, arguably 2021 as well, like we've just gotten, I would argue, like really generationally, like fantastic years, like kind of back to back to back. And so that's cool. And I can't shit on that, really. As far as like where games are going to be going, I definitely think AI is going to be a huge part of it. I wonder if VR or AR, particularly AR, I wonder if AR has a future, augmented reality. I wonder if that can pick up the slack in areas that VR has particularly stagnated in. I wonder how compact those will eventually be, if investment in them will continue. I wonder how the economic realities of free to play will impact the industry. Like, I wonder if we're going to be in a race to the bottom or not, or whether or not we'll have the sense to kind of pull away from that. I don't know. The future is going to look weird. I do think we are going to be in a place, though, in 15 years where we're going to have kind of, if not a single screen experience, something damn close to it. Where I don't think we're going to have necessarily bespoke console boxes. I think if anything, it'll be like equivalent to like a dongle is today, or like a chip is today, or like a subscription is today. It's like you'll subscribe to PlayStation or you'll subscribe to Xbox or whatever, and you'll get your shit. I think Nintendo will still somehow be selling consoles though, even when everybody else has maybe left it in the past.
They're certainly going to be the last ones to change.
Yeah.
Pinecone Steve wrote in. Pinecone Steve said, "Hey, my big beauty babies. Greetings from Madison, Wisconsin. With the days getting shorter as we approach the holidays and work piling up, I'm in retail advertising. I've been thinking a lot about time as a resource and how that affects the kinds of games I gravitate towards in today's attention economy. Lately, I've been hooked on Ball Pit, another roguelike survivor-like, and I realized that most of my favorite games this year, Hades 2, Ball Pit, Absalom, all scratch the same quick hit dopamine itch. Meanwhile, the big blockbusters like Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei, while undeniably impressive, leave me feeling kind of empty. At first, I figured I just preferred instant action and gameplay over story. I get my narrative fix from books or film, but Ball Pit's casino-style lights and sounds made me wonder if my brain has just quietly rotted from dopamine loops. So I'm curious, what do you think this shift means for the industry? As free-to-play and smaller-scale games capture more attention and giant blockbusters that demand your time and patience get riskier and more expensive, where does that leave both players and developers? Anyway, I'll keep searching for the light in these dark days. Keep on. Keeping on. Thank you, Pinecone Steve, for writing in. You could be brain broken. I talk all the time. And again, on that recent podcast I talked about how brain broken I think I am about a lot of things. Like, and I've lamented many times on the show. Well, not really lamented. I'm glad. It's like, man, if I was a kid today, I'd be so fucking broken. I'm very, very lucky. I had to like use dial-up internet and shit, even at, like when it was the best time. So people are broken in different ways now, and I am not amongst the immune. I am definitely one of the broken people. But I'm fascinated by this cycle of games that are coming and going. And one of the new thesis I'm working on, or at least like this thing I want to focus in on more, is this notion that everything is temporary now. And games have always been temporary, but like even the biggest, most anticipated, hungriest kind of game with the hungriest audience rather, just seem to come and go. One of the things that I find really interesting is what's going on with Hollow Knight Silksong, a game that has both sold an enormous number of copies and is a smash critical and commercial hit, and also a game that is completely out of the zeitgeist, like not widely discussed, not even in the top 20 downloaded games on PSN and for PS5 in October. Things still do well, but it happens quickly and then it's over. And that seems to be the biggest problem for games of all sizes. And in fact, might hurt the smaller games more because there's less on the bone and they go away quicker. So I think Pinecone Steve, this is a complicated issue. And I think it's up to personal taste. I personally find that for me, like I'm playing games more deeply, more longer gameplay sessions, all the rest than I've ever had in my life. But at the same time, I'm also attracted to the quick hits, and I get it. And that's kind of where Plants vs. Zombies is fitting into my game schedule right now as I play something like Power Wash Simulator. If you want to do Power Wash Simulator 2, if you want to do like one of the bigger maps, it could take you 3 hours. Like legit 3 hours will just go by. And that's a lot to ask for a person. And then, of course, all these other games that we were talking about, Arc Raiders earlier, and games that kind of suck up your time. So the thing that I'm thinking about right now, guys, and I don't know if you have anything you want to add, but the thing I'm thinking about right now is just the conveyor belt. It's so fast. It's like Lucy. Here's another timely reference for you, Chris. It's like I Love Lucy when she's in the chocolate like the chocolate, and the conveyor belt keeps going and she's shoving the things in her mouth and in the pockets and all. It's like it's crazy. And that's and nothing's immune to it. Grand Theft Auto might be one of the very rare games that will be immune to the churn, but everything is getting churned into oblivion. Mm-hmm. And games that would have been huge 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, ubiquitously are just gone. Even think about games that are like so like that dominated the perception zeitgeist this year, like Expedition 33. Even that's kind of tamped down a lot. So I don't know. That's where I'm at on that. Do you have anything you guys want to add before we move on?
I definitely understand the pull to the dopamine hit games, because this is happening to me where I guess I should have talked about this earlier in the what you've been playing section, but I am still playing Ghost of Yotei. I am so bored by it though. And there's nothing wrong with it. When I play it, I'm like, my problem actually with Ghost of Yotei recently is that I feel like there's the cycle of every mission where it's like, okay, I go here, I talk to this person, we have to walk and talk for about 5 minutes. Then maybe I do a little stealth thing, and then we get somewhere and there's a battle, and then the mission's over, and repeat that process throughout the entire game. And I'm at the point where I'm satiated. And so the process, when I sit down to play, I'm like, when I start the next mission in Yotei, I got to travel somewhere. I got to talk to someone, sit through the cutscene. Then we got to walk and talk for a little bit, maybe climb up the side of a cliff for a little bit, do a little, it's just this process. I'm like, I'd rather play Ball Pit and then immediately get as Pinecone Steve mentions I think he mentioned like the quick dopamine hit. It's like a slot machine, So I understand that draw, and it has affected my gaming habits to some degree. And maybe it's just a case with Ghost of Yotei where maybe I've taken too long to play it, and so I'm just losing general interest. That's a huge possibility, but I try to balance it out. And I've talked about this with Call of Duty, where I hit a point where I can play Call of Duty, and even though I'm having fun, I feel like I'm wasting my time
Yeah.
which is funny because we're talking about video games, which I don't think, you know what I mean in general. But I get to a point with Call of Duty, I'm like, I should be playing other games right now because I could just sit and endlessly feel the dopamine of getting a kill streak over and over and over again. So it's it sucks. We're dying and we are slaves to our own brain.
I don't know, man. Like, I think I get it. I get where this guy's coming from. But on some level, it always makes me laugh when people are like, "Oh man, like I'm not playing the big stuff, and I'm only playing these dinky little things." And it's like, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. I've always been like a narrative last kind of person anyway, because narratives are the least unique thing about video games. Like, they're literally an emulation of other media. Like, it's an emulation of a book, a TV show, a movie, or whatever. And they're really cool in the way that you interact with them, because like no other medium is interactive in the same way. But I would really argue that like the prime differentiator of something like a video game compared to a book or a movie is something like Ball X Pit, or the feeling that you get out of something like a Hades 2 run or something like that. It's like it's so uniquely distinct from any other feeling that you're going to get from any other medium. And so it's weird to me that those are treated as like the secondary kind of less important things in comparison to Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei, both of which I like. It's just like, I get it because it seems more serious, or it seems more legitimate because it's got X actor in it, and it's got high fidelity graphics. But I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I think having an interaction with like some random stranger in Arc Raiders through the comms is like a far more satisfying, far more unique, and far more distinct feeling than anything I'm going to get out of a narrative-based game, because that is something that will only happen in that one moment. Like, you will in Battlefield, you will only engage in a gunfight with that other player once in your entire life, and then it's over. And then, by the way, that game will die eventually, and then you'll never be able to play it again. That's why I think about like if I missed out on Alan Wake, right, when it came out, to play Monday Night Combat or something, I can play Alan Wake today. Monday Night Combat is dead and buried, and I remember it. And I remember the experiences that I had like in that game with like other people, and like coordinating and like playing against other people, and how weird it was. And so I don't know. I don't think you are you should feel bad about spending your time engaging with gameplay heavy, story last kind of experiences, because in some ways I really feel like those experiences are like quintessential video games, and like the key reason why this medium even matters in the first place, or why it's distinct in the first place. It's cool to have those dopamine loops and those types of gameplay loops transitioned into things that also fulfill the goals of something like a feature film, or like a novel, or something like Death Stranding and Ghost of Yotei. Those are cool and interesting, and not worthless by any means, but you shouldn't feel bad about not having the time to go through them in exchange for these smaller titles. It's good shit. Ball X Pit is good. Enjoy your time with it.
Dead wrote in.
Oh.
Said, "Hey Colin, GameFAQs turns 30 this week. We all know it played a massive role in your life and career, but do you have any thoughts as it celebrates this occasion?" I saw that. I wouldn't be doing this without GameFAQs. It's amazing the website still exists. For people that don't know it, it's GameFAQs.com. And it's the original owner of the site who ended up selling it to, I guess what would become CBS Interactive. It was CNET at the time. Jeff VC, CJC was his tag. He was a very secretive, very mysterious person. And I did meet him at E3 in 2004. And we took a picture together. I don't know where that picture might be, but we definitely did, because I remember he would even turn his badge around so no one knew his name. Like, he didn't want any. And when he got an exit from the site, I think that he got maybe made $10 or $20 million. Nice payout. He was like, "All right, I'm out." And then like no one ever heard from him again. He used to update the site, but like GameFAQs is funny, man, because it's so quaint and it's so interesting that it still exists, and it's so much more now than it used to be. to the point where I feel like it's actually kind of lost its soul a little bit. But I understand that they had to stay modern and with the times, like when they started using HTML guides and all of that, it was all just text. And then they added the forums later on. That was in 2000, I want to say, when they added the forums. And it was a great community. And it's where I spent a lot of my time as a young person on the internet from 96, 97, 98, all the way through 2005, 2006. And I really, really loved it. And yeah, it's funny. So I was saying it was quaint. Like back in the day, to get your guides on, you would have to download an FTP client and then upload your text in this very specific format to an FTP client. And then it would just get absorbed into the site manually. And you would like check the updates. They would update the site and put everything like manually that they updated and uploaded to the site. And it was so interesting. And I met a lot of really cool people, and a few people that I still talk to this day. Became pretty good friends with a couple of them in real life. A couple of them I even ended up working with at IGN. One of them, a good friend of mine, Devin Morgan, who grew up he was in New Jersey when I was on Long Island. He ended up being the administrator of the site for many years and worked for GameSpot. And I spoke to him pretty extensively last year. It was good to catch up with him. So GameFAQs was a major part of my life. It's cool that it's still going. It is a little different though. And I've said this in the past. One of the things that I love about the internet are the old relics of the internet. You know how like the Space Jam website famously still works? That kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
And GameFAQs has really old shit on it from before the World Wide Web even existed, because the way that CJC would seed a lot, people used to on Usenet share like these documents about how to beat all these games or whatever. And he took a lot of those and uploaded them. So if you go deep into some old games on like Apple II or PC and Spectrum and all these different things, you'll find documents that are literally dated from the 80s. And that's like crazy old in the digital world. And those things exist in the same with these weird email addresses and even my shit still exists on there, but it's old, but it's not as old as a lot of that stuff. And that's the stuff I really, really love. And it says here, actually, because they posted this thing today, the top 10 legendary GameFAQs contributors. And some people were like, why isn't Colin on this? I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like there are people that's why I always say I was good and I was nimble and all of that, but I was lucky too. There were people that were really, really prolific that I don't even know what the fuck they were doing other than writing on GameFAQs. Just incredible amount of shit. But they say here, the oldest guide with a recognized date and author is Game Master's Guide for the PC adventure game Hollywood Hijinks, which was published on May 7th, 1987. I mean, you know how cool, like, I don't know if anyone agrees out there or feels it, but I'm like, that's so cool. That thing has just been, that thing percolated around for years. It's exactly what it was. Who the hell even knows who that guy is? Game Master was his title, was his name. When you can have basically any name and it wouldn't have been taken. So yeah, shout out to GameFAQs. Do you guys have any experience with it? I know you didn't upload things to it, but did you ever use it either to read old text documents or the infamous forums?
I'm sure I engaged with it a little bit, like in the early 2000s, but not to any real, like it wouldn't autofill. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like a frequent thing. It was like occasionally I would be stuck on something and I would Google a fix for it, and GameFAQs would be like one of the first things that would pop up, and I would read it. But I didn't have like a real relationship with the website in any serious way. I think by the time I was old enough and paying attention deeply to this stuff, it was kind of, things had migrated more towards social media and like YouTube stuff in general. Like that's how I found a lot of stuff, was like YouTube guides, or like a lot of people in like comment sections and stuff. And I think there were like certain forums elsewhere, maybe. I can't remember, man. It was so long ago. But I know I've had brief interactions with it.
I know I used it quite regularly because when I was a kid, we were always looking up cheat codes on the internet. And a lot of these sites were, that we talked about ads earlier. It was like you might get a virus going to Cheat Code Central or something like that. But GameFAQs had like its cheat lists, which was cool for if you wanted to do like big head mode or something in a game. Or we were always just, screwing around in different games that had them. But and then, of course, I mean, the FAQ section is awesome. We use that regular, or not the FAQ, but the guides is what I meant to say.
Yeah,
were a huge resource. And I every once in a while will still search and find and use a guide from GameFAQs for sure.
It's a really, really important. It's like the most important thing to my like childhood online experience for sure. It's cool to see it still going on, but again, it's not the same. It was like such a weird and interesting place for a long time though. All right. Rob Kavazna wrote in and said, Dear Sacred Men, Ghost of Yote has an interesting feature where you can sensually blow into your controller when starting a campfire. Hypothetically, who at LSM would surprise you the most if you learned that they preferred to use this feature?
I know what this question is asking.
Yeah.
It's asking who at LSM, is the most likely to be gay? Is that what they're asking? Blowing on a controller?
Why is it gay to blow on the controller?
I think you know the answer to that.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm not blowing on. Would you blow on the controller?
No, I did blow on I think I blew on
I've
the
blown
Vita.
on things before.
Yeah, I've blown on a few things in here and there.
I've blown on a thing or two in my time.
I think Uncharted Golden Abyss required you to blow into the microphone on the Vita, if I recall.
I think, did Astro's Playroom do that or no?
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Maybe there was an option to do that.
You had to blow on Astro for sure.
Yeah, I've blown Astro.
Yeah.
He's a robot. It's fine.
By the way, can I say something about these, like, speaking of these features in Ghost of Yote, the campfire cooking shit, I skip it every time.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too.
I skip it every single time, which begs the question, why put any effort into making this at all? If a sizable percentage of your player base is just going to skip it every single time.
I said on the spoiler cast that it's one of those things that reeks of playtest, where like that wasn't the case. And then they did all the work and it was in the game and then they played it over and over again and it was normal to them. And then when people started playing it, they're like, I don't want to do this. And then they just put the X over it. And that's my theory of the case. There's another funny ass part in the game. I won't, it's not a spoiler for like the specific section, but there's a part where you have to like shoot explosive barrels and it's like, shoot these barrels, and it'll help you escape from this dire situation. And dude, I was hysterical talking about it on the podcast because everyone knew exactly what I was talking about on the podcast, where I was like, there are so many barrels that you could tell that when they were playtesting it, people kept failing over and over again, to the point where it's like, dude, it's like every explosive, like piece of speck of gunpowder in all of Japan is in this map. And I was like, dude, this is so funny. It's definitely like a playtest thing. And we were talking about the Last of Us waving, in the beginning of The Last of Us when Sarah dies and it's like, you're walking in and it's like, there's all this shit pointing you in a certain direction because you can tell that like when they were playtesting and no one knew where to go. It's like insane.
Yeah.
It's like, we get it. People complain about like yellow paint. I'm like, oh my God, it's like way worse than that. Chris, who would blow into the controller? Who would enjoy it the most, you think?
Who would enjoy that? Well,
it's technically not the question.
No, I'm sorry.
You can still answer it.
Who at LSM would surprise you the most? Okay, I'll surprise you the most.
Who is the least gay?
Yeah.
Optically.
Who's the least optically gay? I think maybe I can't imagine Cog doing this.
I was gonna say Cog. He's not. He doesn't strike me as a controller blower.
No, I imagine Cog as that image of the guy yanking his headphones off. That's
the FIFA president. I think people say. I don't know. I'm American.
Yeah, I imagine that, but like Cog with the controller, it's like, oh, blow on the controller to do this. It's like, no way. I'm not doing any of this shit.
Why are you gay for me? Rob Persglove wrote in and said, hello, Sacred Trio. Boys, what makes a good video game map? The kind you want to stick on your wall. Is it only older video games you would do this with, or is there something more recent you appreciate the looks of? Thank you for the show. I was going to say Rob Persglove. 2 Robs back to back. It's the back-to-back Rob show. To me, it's more about what makes a good in-game map. And again, with Yote on the mind, I feel like Yote has got a rock solid in-game map with crazy levels of intricate, detailed, quick travel options. And it shows you multiple layers of information that you need to know, and zooming in and zooming out and placing waypoints. And there are so many shitty maps in games where they don't let you do half the things you want to do on them. And so to like encounter a map where it's like, oh, nice. It actually works. Like you actually did the small thing this time. As opposed to the God of War, where it's like, this map is fucking useless.
Yeah, the worst thing a map can do in game is make you notice anything about it. You know, like a map should be like a frictionless kind of like experience where you're just like, you don't even think about what's right or wrong with it. But then sometimes you play a game and you're like, why can't I zoom in more than this? Or like, why can't I do like X, Y, Z? I love, by the way, I love that you were like, fuck your question. I want to talk about in-game maps.
Well, as far as like a map I'd want to put on the wall, there are a few of them, but the only map that I think is like role-playing style map, I guess, that would be visually recognizable to me, truly visually recognizable to me, is Final Fantasy VII. Just like the shape of the world and whatnot. Because we've all done it probably when we were little kids, or you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or something and you're making something fake. It's like you're just making a fake map. And it's literally you just like, yeah. It's like, it's fun. It's like, oh, there's an island here, I guess, and all of the rest. But a lot of them are not, I'm not like captivated by like the in-game cartography of a lot of different games. And I don't find the layout necessarily iconic in and of itself. So fuck your question.
I don't know. Like, I think the only map that I ever hung anywhere was the Skyrim map.
Skyrim. Like, it came with it, right?
Yeah, it came with it, which is always cool. Like I love that shit. Whenever like a game comes with like a nice hefty manual and like a nice extra thing. I remember Halo 3 came with like a really sick poster that I really loved, like hand painted. Well, the poster wasn't hand painted, but it was like water. It was like paintbrush strokes. It was really nice. But the Skyrim map, I remember, like I would know it a mile away. Like I recognize the shape of it. I remember hanging that up on my wall and being like, yeah, I don't mind this. But that's very few and far between, you know, like I wouldn't hang like a Grand Theft Auto map, you know,
right.
Or like care that I had it.
Dustin, anything you want to sound off on? Do you want to also ignore the question?
Well, I'll start by ignoring the question.
Yeah.
The best experience in a game that I've ever had with a map is probably Elden Ring. And Colin, we experienced this on the stream on Monday. The crazy part is, and I don't, this is not a spoiler because people know how big Elden Ring is now. But I remember first playing the game where you get a new piece of the map and you're like, whoa, this game's bigger than I thought. And then you get another piece and you're like, whoa, this game's bigger than I thought. And it just kept getting bigger and expanding. And also it looks cool. I like a good in-game map that looks like it makes sense within the context of the world. Elden Ring's like that. I also thought of the Red Dead Redemption 2 map, which is pretty cool. So, that's probably my answer, is those two. But I'm trying to think of, like, I can think of some bad maps. Like, there's the meme of the Assassin's Creed. Is it Assassin's Creed 2 map? It's like the icons everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's busy like fucking mess.
Drowning, dude.
All right. Final inquiry. Brady VM says, look, Fats, how have your genre preferences changed over time? I find it interesting to reflect upon life stages in the games we played along the way. It helps condense a life story into a memoir of distinct epochs. For example, I started out on PS1 playing a wide variety of genres thanks to my dad modding my console to play burned CDs. As a teenager in the 360 era, I shifted towards heavily towards competitive shooters. In college, I broadened my horizons to explore indies and offbeat experiences. And now as an adult, with limited time, roguelikes are my most played genre, keeping me in touch with friends while offering the satisfaction of high difficulty and build crafting coming to fruition. So how about you? What are the epics of your gaming memoir? How have you changed as a person, and how has your gaming changed alongside you? Chris? Have things changed for you over time? I assume they have.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like PS1, early PS1, which, and like that kind of time was more like for platformers. I remember playing a lot of, like, obviously Shadow of the Ninja was like my early, like that was Nintendo Entertainment System, but I went from NES directly to PS1. And so like it was a lot of platformers, side scrollers, fighting games, 3D platformers, that kind of thing. And then I stuck with fighting for a while, like through the Dragon Ball Z kind of PS2 era. Then I got into shooters, got really fucking into shooters. I still am to this point. Like, that's one thing that's been considered. The second and you know what it was? I didn't think about this until recently, but I was wondering, like, why is it that like shooters, like specifically, or just think that I still like fuck around with. And I think it's earnestly because the feeling of synergy between pulling a trigger on a controller and pulling a trigger in, like on a gun in game is so satisfying to me. Like I think just that level of like cohesion, because I feel like that doesn't really exist with literally any other action in any other video game. Like if you swing a bat at somebody, it's not pressing X or like pulling a trigger. If you jump, it's not like, you know, pressing a button or doing X, Y, but like pulling a trigger in a shooter is pulling a trigger on the controller. And there's something about that just feels fucking good. But so I was on shooters for a while. I got into RPGs probably into maybe late 360, early PS4. And then that's when I started to do more like indie stuff. I was doing some indie stuff on the 360 arcade with like Limbo and Explosion Man and Vamp Dishwasher and then weird things like that. And I think now I'm kind of in a space where I'm more interested in like, I don't even know, like now it's more immersive sim kind of territory. Like that's the most recent evolution that I've gone through, because I remember playing Dishonored back in the day and really liking it, but not really understanding what it was. And the same thing happened with like Prey back in the day and System Shock. I tried, I didn't get it, but like eventually it all clicked, and now I'm really into that kind of stuff. But it's shifted. But shooters are like a constant for me. I love a good shooter still.
What about you, Dustin? Anything change for you?
I think that my change of preference is somewhat similar to the write-in, where like early days, I mean, I played a lot of like platformers and stuff like that when I was a kid, but also got into games like Metal Gear Solid and things like that. But in the 360 era, and I was in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. It was all shooters all the time. And now as I've gotten older, I continually, and it's a big problem for me, is that there are more and more genres that I am into. And so there's just more games that appeal to me. There are genres that I am burnt out on. We were just talking about Ghost of Yotei, and I am burnt out on a lot of types of open world games. And so that comes and goes. And it's been cool to see new genres pop up that I think are really cool and really interesting and doing new things. Particularly the what is now called friend slop genre of games like RV There Yet and Repo, things like that. I love it. I love the idea of like spending $5 to $10 on a game that you play for some of them as short as like 3 hours, other than 10, 20 hours that you just get together with your friends. And usually they have proximity chat and are a nice little casual experience to hang out. They're like games made for the Discord online play era that we're in. And there's a lot of cool things being done. There's a new one I just saw that's a found footage game. It's called Don't Scream Together. It's not out yet, so I don't know if it's going to be good. But each person is like they're recording the event. And I think eventually, like, one of the people on your team can become the monster. And so it like uses a stupid voice changer to make them sound like a demon. Stuff like that. Real fun. I'm into it. So I think it's cool how things can change and adapt. But my main problem is just being into too many genres of games and having too many games I want to play.
Yeah.
I will say I've been pretty consistent over time. I think things have vacillated a little bit. I played more role-playing games at one point in my life. I always loved shooters, action games. I will say that the major thing that I don't play anymore, that I spent enormous amounts of my childhood, teen years, and even in my 20s playing, is sports games. And they just don't even compute anymore for me, mostly because I couldn't imagine fitting it into the schedule, the gaming schedule I had. The thing about sports games back in the day were, first of all, especially with Madden and a few others, they would start to trickle out in August, which was a complete fucking dead zone. And you were so excited about the upcoming football season that you would dedicate a lot of time to Madden. And then NHL would come out in September, and you might play a baseball game in the spring or whatever. Football, obviously everyone loves soccer, or a lot of people like soccer. It wasn't really for me, but I played FIFA quite a bit as well. And it just felt like a compliment. You like almost, not that you needed it, but almost like you needed it, because there weren't enough games interestingly, or you didn't have access to enough of them. You had to do like a value driven proposition of like, I need to buy Madden for 60 or 70 bucks on SNES and I'll spend hundreds of hours with it. And I did. So that's like the one, I think the biggest change in my gaming behavior over time is like no sports games anymore. It's simply not because there's no time. It's academically, like intellectually very satisfying to think like, oh, I could play like a really deep Madden franchise or something. But like, when am I going to do that? When's that going to happen? And like, at what cost? Like, so I'm not going to play anything else. I think that's why there's been such a huge divide in some way between sports players and others, is because it's just so all consuming and annualized. You can never get away from it. So good question though. Thank you for writing in. All right, it's time to go. That's it. That's all we have for this episode of Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast. Let's go around the horn and say goodbye to everyone. Chris, goodbye to you. Be well. Any big plans for the rest of your day?
Thursday, nothing crazy. Probably going to do some Arc Raiders tonight. I've got nothing really. Nothing. It's a slow week, thank God.
Good. Slow is good.
Yeah. No complaints.
Dustin, goodbye to you. Anything going on with you that you want to report?
Let's see. Well, tomorrow we're going to be doing the Elden Ring Part 2 stream. So I'll see you shortly for that. This weekend, on Saturday night at 9, I'm going to be on the Spawncast from that's Spawn Waves podcast.
Cool.
So if you're on Patreon and you hear this, check me out over there. That should be cool. That's really about it. Going to be playing Arc Raiders, of course. I'm pulling a Chris right now. I'm desperately hungry at this moment. Oh. And I can smell something. Something is wafting upstairs, and I think that's part of it.
That always makes it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, it's made it so much worse. So hopefully
go satiate yourself.
Food is in my near future.
Very good. Very good.
Including the pie, the Baja
Oh
Blast
yeah,
pie.
yeah. You'll have to report back on that.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's already dark out, but I kind of want to go for a walk. I'll just walk in the dark. Who gives a shit? We'll look like a weirdo.
Dude, I hate the way we've set this shit up. Where it gets dark so damn early now.
I know, it's just suddenly like it's 5 o'clock, man. Here, it's like it's already dusk. But yeah, I got to do that. Maybe I'll walk the dogs or something and watch football tonight, hang out. And then we'll stream tomorrow. So looking forward to that. All right, boys. Appreciate your time today. Glad all is well. Thank you all for your time out there and your support as well. Patreon.com/lastdaymedia for early ad-free access and lastdaymedia.store for merch. We'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.